Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is your host, Tiffany Stevens, aka Black Mamba, and we are back for another week of the Planet Podcast. This week, we're going to be discussing everything from classical literature to Marvel getting the rights to Daredevil back, new Attack on Titan, and obviously current events because there's a lot going on. So, this week, we have a couple of people that's going to be on the podcast today. So, this week, we're going to have Cassio, obviously Jensen, Jamal Baraka, and Toku Terry. So with that, I will let my peoples introduce themselves and we'll hit this thing right off.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Cassio from Cassio Logic. Thank you all very much for allowing me to come in and be on your podcast today.
What up, though? This is Jamal Baraka from Detroit, representing Planet EJOBN and GT Media Review. Let's get it, baby.
Man, what's up, man? Jensen Dan from Arkansas, repping Jensen's World, playing at EGBOBN, and representing y'all.
Hey, it's Toku Terry once again. Terrence Andrews representing all my Black Tokusatsu fans, in Cleveland.
All right. So I thank all of you guys, obviously, for being on this week with everything that's been going on. Obviously, anytime we can get together is a good thing. It's a good thing for all of us, and it's a good thing for everybody listening to us. So I appreciate having all of you guys on. And with that, we're just going to go ahead and dive right into it. And our first topic tonight is classical literature, which is honestly kind of one of my things that I love because I do love to read. So Toku Terry, go ahead and start us off on that.
Okay. What I've been reading lately is the tragedy of Faustus, or Dr. Faust, or however you want to say it. And it's a really interesting story. It's about this guy who sells his soul and how he could have found redemption if he had at any time just realized, hey, this is a bad idea. I should ask for forgiveness. But this does not occur to him. So all his friends keep dying, and all these bad things keep happening to him. He's being tortured by demons, and the story is trying to make you feel bad for him. But I'm sitting there, I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, but no one told you to sell your soul. This is all on you.
Faust? We're talking about Dr. Faust, right?
You're talking about Dr. Faust.
Faust was one of those where I was just like, I don't know, like I just need him to know better. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just need him to know better. That's just how I always felt about his story.
Yeah. You got if you are smart enough to get a degree in whatever he was a doctor
right.
in, you be smart enough to realize there's probably better ways to cure your boredom than selling your soul.
Right. Because he was not stupid. You know what I'm saying? Dr. Faust was a very smart man, and he was a very successful man. I forget what he did for a living, but whatever it was, he had money and all that stuff. So you just bored. You just bored. Hey, I'll just sign a deal with the devil. It won't end up that bad. It'll be fine.
Yeah. The way the story portrays it is he felt he had observed everything his environment had to offer him, and wanted to see what other paths there were to relieve his doldrums. And I'm like, dude, you're rich. Rent a ship.
Study some more languages. Yeah, like rent it. Do something. His was something where I was just like, his was completely and utterly something that could have been preventable. Absolutely.
Like, in my opinion, a tragedy should be something that is equal parts the character's fault and equal parts the fault of fate itself. With Dr. Faustus, no, there's no fate involved. You signed that contract. This is all on you.
Right. Exactly. And I'm sure all of you guys know, because you guys are comic readers. I found the fact that he was a protagonist for Wonder Woman. I found that to be interesting. Or the Amazons, maybe. He was a protagonist in the Amazons stories. I found that to be interesting.
Yeah. And I feel like the other story I recently read was Desiree's Baby, which is this short story about the antebellum Louisiana. This rich white couple, and I'm not going to say more about how a short story made me hate a character more in 500 words than some novels have made me hate someone in 10,000 pages.
Whoa.
I just went,
Really?
yeah. I just went like when this is over, you guys look that up, Desiree's Baby, and you're just gonna go, yeah.
Well, I know when I'm watching the Twilight Zone, like usually my favorite episodes are like episodes where people make deals with the devil and they go bad and regret it. I know there was one episode where a guy, he ended up selling his soul to the devil because of I guess he was trying to save some kids from the hospital or whatever, and it just didn't work out. So I mean, it's a common trope. You see it all the time. But and I know there was an episode where a guy he was a hypochondriac and he ended up selling his soul to the devil, and he ended up killing his wife in the end. He ends up in prison, and they tell him he's going to get like 20 years, but the deal he made. What'd you say?
More, that's forever.
What'd you say?
I said no. They told him he'll be in there for life. He gets life in prison. He goes,
yeah, he's gonna get life in prison. But then,
forever.
Like once he realizes that he was gonna get life in prison, it was like, oh shoot, I got this deal with the devil where I can't die. So at that point, he weighed his options. He just called the guy and said, look, I'm gonna go ahead and cash in my chips and just cash out. And that's at that point the devil gets a soul. And I always found those stories to be kind of really interesting because normally if you got to the point where you're making those type of deals where you can't back out of, things are pretty messed up. But then once you actually have to come face to face with the consequences, is like it's just bad, man. It's really human element there.
Yeah. You know, and I mean that like you said, the storyline is one that you see a lot for anybody who, one of my favorite shows, for anybody who watches Supernatural, it's legit like one of the main things that happens for at least 6-7 seasons, you know, where you're selling your soul for whatever it may be, you know, saving somebody else money, trying to become famous or whatever. And then, but it's always people who like, they're just like, oh, you know, time's up already, or, you know, oh, there's got to be a way for me to get out of this. And it's like, when are you going to learn that you can't, once you make a deal with the devil, you can't break that? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just, your time is going to come. Great. And that's just what it is.
That's why I always like the opposite trope, because it's always surprising when you see the opposite trope when someone makes a deal with archangels to do something, because it's so surprising you never expect it. You're like, oh, so that wasn't a demon. Cool.
Right.
Like there's this one really old story where this guy who was born in poverty makes a deal with a mysterious stranger to get power, and then he spends the rest of his life using that power to ensure no one ever goes hungry. No one within his sphere of influence ever goes hungry or poor again. And then when he finally dies, he's like, yeah, okay, I'm going to hell, but hey, I made sure no one will ever have to suffer how I suffered. And the mysterious stranger goes, hell? Oh, I'm sorry. You must have thought I was a demon.
Good grief. I need to get back into classical stories. I used to read these a lot, and I got off of it. I miss that kind of stuff.
That's my favorite kind of twist. A positive twist, in my opinion, is 1,000 times more shocking and 1,000 times more effective than a negative twist. Because we're so used to negative twists, we expect them, but you never expect something positive to happen anymore.
Well, for me, when I'm reading or writing or when I'm actually watching something on television, the twist, like if there's no twist, that's usually like the shock. like just exactly what you see is what you get. It is like usually when it plays out, it's like, well, damn, I saw it coming, but I was expecting something else.
It's been a while. I have to sit here and think about if I have, what's the last thing I saw where there was no twist at all? Like, I can't even think of anything
that
didn't have some kind of a twist in it. Now I gotta think.
Yeah, when you see it, it's like it's almost like it's like a twist because it's like, okay, well, damn, this is exactly what I expected, but you know, it's usually a shock.
Now I gotta think of something. See,
I got
can't
something
think
off
of
the
nothing.
top of my head.
What? What you got?
Mortal Kombat Aftermath, apparently.
They got RoboCop in that boy, baby.
Wait a minute. Weren't we talking about RoboCop last
Yeah, he's on Mortal
time?
Kombat
I mean,
Oh
now.
yeah, I've seen
RoboCop,
that.
you just can't let it go, can you? You just can't let it go.
Well, I've actually watched the story, and since we're talking about stories,
Please don't spoil the game. I ain't played it, but
Here we go.
look,
well,
they
it's
said
not
Robo-
really like it's not really a spoiler because they kind of alluded to it with the character ending. They just incorporated it into like the second part of the story.
Dog, they said
But
RoboCop was gonna be in the game. I got wood.
Oh my!
Real baby. It was like, whoa.
Wait a minute.
yeah,
From RoboCop? Really?
Yeah,
You got
RoboCop.
word from RoboCop being in Mortal Kombat?
Yeah,
Really?
you got.
Yeah.
There's a difference between
I mean,
I think it's amazing. Actually,
I guess they
It's
had to
different
have RoboCop versus Terminator again somehow. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, let's put
They got
Judge
the
Dredd in there.
T800 in there.
Something that makes sense. RoboCop don't
I
make no
mean,
sense.
Warner Brothers dropped some money to get MGM to get the MGM license to use that in that game. So it's like they've already thrown so much money at that game already. But just to try not to shift off topic too much. Well, basically, it's like it wasn't a surprising twist, but like I'm guessing it's just something that people sort of complained about, and it has to do with Sindel. And it's like they kind of have to like, and it's like, you know, they was like, oh, this kind of goes against what the characters been building up to, but they kind of reveal something here where it's like, okay, but it's not really that big of a twist, but it's like the only thing I can really think of that
Say it,
where it's
damn
like
it.
I've seen
Wait,
recently.
wait.
Yeah.
Basically,
I'll guess. If
basically, I
right.
mean, you could guess, but I mean, simply put, basically, Sindel was an evil bitch the whole time.
Oh, wow.
So
So
that's
it's the all along twist.
right.
I always expect.
It was it was a very elongated twist, basically. So it's like something that they've always alluded to, but it's like, okay, so she wasn't this benevolent queen this whole time. So so that's kind of where they went with there. But yeah, other than that, it's like it's essentially Mortal Kombat Endgame when it's all said and done.
I got the head canon for RoboCop and Terminator. I feel like the way the stories are set up, I know they're totally different franchises, but I always felt like RoboCop was like the precursor for the Terminator. And like maybe like 20, like after they got the technology right, you had better and better cyborgs or whatever, and then you got the Terminator. And then I didn't read the comic, but I always figured that the story had to tie something like that together where they would meet each other. Because the franchises are like they're totally different, but they kind of are the same.
Yeah,
They kind of were. I mean, I wasn't aware. I probably should have been aware that there was a comic book of it because I remember playing the video game back in the day.
Yeah.
And it was like, you know, obviously they alluded to that like RoboCop was like essentially the prototype of like the T800s, like in the future or whatever.
I mean,
and,
it
like
makes total sense.
it does, and like it would have been nice if they could have like done something with that. I mean, you know, but I mean,
Yeah, but RoboCop in Mortal Kombat, that makes sense to you?
not to
makes sense?
No.
to me, no. To me, no.
Like they had the Ninja Turtles in Mortal Kombat. Like anything is possible. You can't really.
First of all,
Freddy Krueger was in that bitch. I mean,
True.
Freddy Krueger
is
makes
true.
sense though. Like
wasn't Spawn in the game too?
Spawn is in the game now. That makes sense though.
but it wasn't,
Like,
it wasn't the real Freddy Krueger though. It was like the
yeah, it was the weird pedophile Freddy. I know.
Yeah, it was the pedophile Freddy.
It's
It was
still
the real
Freddy Krueger though. Like that, like you could see him being in
Yeah, we need Mike Myers.
whole nether realm shit in like more. You could see that though.
Well, Jason is in it, ain't he? Ain't Jason in Mortal Kombat?
He was
Or
in
am
the
I thinking
last
something
one.
else?
He's
Yeah, he was in the last one.
You might as well get Mike Myers up in there. Why not?
Hell yeah.
Why not? Why not?
Man,
Make
they
it
might
happen.
as well. Like they already allowed Leatherface in there, so they might as well.
Yeah.
I'm still still irked by that. But
I'm waiting on somebody to put Chucky in the fighting game. I'm just saying.
No.
nope, he'll just be like he'll just be like Yoda in Soul Calibur 4. No.
Yeah.
The other classic character I wanted to talk about was, of course, my boy, your boy, everyone except the Irish's boy, King Arthur. For some reason, the Irish do not like King Arthur. Don't know why.
Probably because he's English.
Wait, you say don't like King Arthur?
Yeah, they do. No, they don't.
Oh.
The Irish just consider him a petty horse thief for some reason.
I mean, the Irish kind of got like a thing like with the Brits anyway, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. I understand they have a whole thing with Britain, but why King Arthur specifically? Like y'all got no problem with any of their other British heroes, but when it comes to King Arthur, man, screw that guy.
Probably because he's the most popular. He's the most popular legend that I can think of. Anyway,
I mean, is King Arthur real?
You know what?
That's a good question.
I've never done the research to see if he was real.
I think his legend comes from somewhere, but
it's a complicated story with no right answers. Basically, there is enough evidence that there may have been not British, because they weren't British back then, but a partially Roman, partially British army led by a man named Artos or Arturius. But because that's the Dark Ages, all the records have been lost.
Okay, so like it's really just based on a bunch of legends, from what I can understand.
No. It's not even based on a bunch of legends. It's based on there was an actual Battle of Camlin, but no one knows who was. And there may or may not have been someone named Arturius in the Battle of Camlin, but no one knows what the Battle of Camlin was, who was fighting who, or what was going on.
Right.
So it's based off a fact and then a whole bunch of speculation.
Okay, I just want to know about the sword and the stone. Like, was that real?
Probably not.
More than likely it ain't.
The sword and the stone and Excalibur are two different swords.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yep.
That's some bullshit.
Yeah, two different ones.
Well, damn. My whole life has been a lie.
Nope. The sword and the stone and Excalibur are two different stories.
So
they're similar in a lot of ways, but they're two different stories.
He broke the sword and the stone fighting a different guy, and he broke two more swords, and then he got Excalibur. Because Merlin was just sick of him breaking swords.
My life has been a lie.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's bad.
Yeah, for those of you who either don't read King Arthur or haven't read my glorious mystery told on Ebjon. Yes, I'm going to shamelessly self-plug. You gotta do it.
It's all right. It's all right.
Where can we find this glorious work?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. Well, if you go to Planet Extraordinary Journey of a Black Nerd, and search the hashtag Story Saturday, you will find 2 years worth of me retelling stories. My personal favorite ones are the King Arthur mythos.
Okay.
Mine will always be the Greek mythology. Always.
I mean, I ain't gonna lie, that's always my go-to as well, man. Always. Like I think now, like, I'm more interested in kind of really familiarizing myself with the Roman side, because like I kind of vaguely know about the Roman side compared to the Greek side. So it's just like I know it's like two sides of the same coin, but like I kind of like just I don't know, like the Roman side like just seems really interesting to me.
I've always been partial to the Smurfs.
And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that, sir.
You just like Smurfette. You one of those dudes who just really like Smurfette with her big ass hat, her big ass feet. You know what I'm saying? Like you just, her yellow hair.
Shit, sound like
that's all that was.
Yeah, it sounds like my ex-wife, but
listen.
Oh
my God.
Wow.
I just want everybody listening to this who will be listening to this to know that some of the views that Jamal expresses does not reflect
the whole panel.
Right, the group as a whole.
Okay,
don't do me like that. Please don't.
I put that out there because good grief.
Right.
What I was going to say about Arthurian mythos is I'm about to tell you guys something you guys might not have known before. And I'm going to ask a very important question. First, First, the comment. Did you guys know that Lancelot is not an original part of the Arthurian mythos? He was created. He was wholly created by a French writer and added to the mythos 300 years afterward, after the original mythos got started.
Y'all can't see this, but I'm raising my hand that I knew that. I'm just saying.
Oh,
I just learned it today.
yes, today
I'm calling bullshit. I'm just joking.
Oh, it's true. It's true. That means which further adds to Lancelot's factor as the worst king knight ever. So not only does he sleep with his best friend's girlfriend, not only does he sleep with the one woman that his literal job was make sure she doesn't sleep with anybody while the king's away. He's not even an original member of the party. He just showed up. He just showed up out of nowhere 300 years after everybody else came and gone.
Can you imagine if this like happened today? Like you'd be like, dude, this Lancelot's guy, he's ruining the canon. You know,
Oh god.
like where the hell did this guy even come from? And he's taking over the story. It would be very horrible.
Because like you realize for anybody obviously who's watched movies about Arthur, Lancelot like was taking the spotlight in a lot of movies.
Yeah.
Especially First Night with Sean Connery. You know what I'm saying? And what's his face? Richard Gere. Like Lancelot became the focus. It wasn't even about Arthur at some point. Like Lancelot became the focus, you know, in a lot of it.
I think it's because of his name. I think his name.
He had fabulous hair. I honestly think it had to do with the hair. His hair was
Because,
fabulous.
Like Lancelot sounds cooler.
Yeah.
For the record, Lancelot does sound cooler until you find out what the word Arthur means.
Mm-hmm. I mean, hey, everybody has an
Arthur's
unknown
still named
meaning to
Arthur
their name.
Dragon. So who wants me to translate that into English?
Do you think,
Go
dude?
for it.
It's your segment.
Well, Arthur. Well, the word Arthur there is ambiguous, but there's several theories. It either comes from the word Arturius, which is a Latin word which means protector or bulwark, and or a Saxon word Artos, which means bear. So his name either means his first name either means guardian or bear, and his last name Pendragon means dragon chief.
Dragon cheeks as an ass?
Chief, as in
Chief. Oh, I couldn't.
Yeah, chief as in
dragon cheeks. Wow.
That's kind of cool.
I'm sorry. I don't have an excuse. I'm not even gonna try. I'm sorry. It sounded weird on my side. I was like, wait, what? Arthur ass? Dragon ass? I'm
Say
sorry.
dragon cheeks, you don't want none of that.
Right.
Yeah, his name either means dragon leader and protector, or the bear dragon leader. Either way, that's an awesome name. So that was my comment. So yeah, Lancelot just shows up in the mythology one day after it's like 200 or 300 years of them establishing stuff, and then some French guy goes, oh, also there was a guy named Lancelot, and he was there, and he totally slept with Guinevere, and he was totally the hero instead of Arthur, and he was totally the greatest knight ever, beyond even Arthur and Percival and all those other people you heard. And then another French dude was like, you know, I kind of hate Lancelot, so I'm gonna write about his son Galahad.
Mm-hmm. Galahad.
This sounds so current year. Like I just want to write an article now. Like
but yeah, so basically the Arthurian myths are basically what happens when a bunch of fanfic writer is, that's exactly how I can describe it. The Arthurian myths, when it comes to Lancelot and Galahad, is what happens when you get a bunch of fanfic writers and you let them get control of the franchise.
Like what happened with Star Wars.
Oh, shots!
I mean,
there you go.
Right?
Okay, and
anybody? Y'all just got quiet on me.
It
Like
can
I
be
ain't
argued.
know? Okay.
It can be argued. It can be argued. Just leave it at that.
Because I feel like Jamal has a lot of things he's been wanting to say about Star Wars. I feel like we need to have a Star Wars talk, Star Wars podcast.
Yeah, because the thing is that on its own, like I think we could like pretty much center a whole show on because there's so many different perspectives on it, and I'm pretty sure we could fill up a whole time spot with just Star Wars
We
talk.
probably could. And
I just want to throw that out there that
in a few minutes will be me ranting that people don't like the prequels, but the prequels are actually pretty good. And no one knows about it. I know what you're going to say. You're going to say
I still there's some good takeaways from the prequels. I'm not going to say they're total trash, but
are we talking prequels? Like, are we talking Luke Skywalker prequels or prequels with Jar Jar Binks? I have to always ask.
You mean
We're talking Jar Jar Binks?
The Jar Jar trilogy. Yeah.
Okay, the Jar Jar trilogy. Okay, I just wanted to make sure we talking about that.
Jar Jar Binks was a mistake.
Yeah, I consider Attack of the Clones to be the worst movie ever made. I'm putting it out there.
and that's a fair point because, like, I think the last time I talked about it is just like, dude, I hardly remember anything that happened in that movie aside from Anakin killing the Sand People and then the big Jedi fight at the end and Yoda fighting for the first time on screen. Like that's
which Yoda disappointed me. I'm just gonna put that out there, but okay.
Did you see them?
I understand that I understand that in your opinion it's a bad movie, but I have seen entirely too many horrible things to call it the worst movie of all time.
Yeah, I would never call it the worst of all time.
Yeah,
I just think within the series, it's definitely among the bottom tier within the series because I could probably think of a couple of horrible ass movies off the top of my head right now that's abysmal above all else, and one of which right now is Cool as Ice, which I was reminded of.
I don't know what that is.
The less you know, the better.
Baby.
Sound like an awesome.
The less you know about that movie, the better.
I
Trust
know
me.
about it, baby.
The less you know about that movie, the better.
Has anyone
Now I'm about to look it up. Now I'm about to look it up on my phone while we doing this. I need to see what it look like. I'm about to look it up. This is what I get.
You have been warned.
Here's my important question.
Yes.
What in the world was wrong with Morgana Le Fay? Like,
what? So we're still.
Wasn't she the sister or
She was the sister.
She was the sister who got mad, but it was weird because she manipulated. Wasn't it Arthur that she manipulated and got pregnant?
Yes, that happened.
So it was incest in the Arthur legend. You know, Merlin got all pissed. Like, you supposed to know. Arthur was like, dude, why don't you tell me some shit? I ain't know. I ain't never seen this girl. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
or whatever.
Because Merlin either gets pissed because Arthur did it and didn't know this chick was his sister, or he's pissed that Arthur did it with a person Arthur suspected with a person who had Arthur's wife face, voice, body, and everything, and was mad that Arthur didn't figure it out. And Arthur's like, she looks just like my wife. Look, Merlin, you basically raised me. You're as much my father as Uther ever was. I'm feeling very violated right now over what just happened. I get some support here.
And I also never understood, like, I understand she was like mad at Arthur or whatever her problem was, but I never understood why she manipulated him to sleep with her. I never understood
medieval times. That's all I can say.
Yeah, true. That's a good answer. True.
Some stories, the magical plate mail that Merlin gave Arthur could only be penetrated by one of Arthur's blood. And in other stories, Morgan is crazy.
Yeah, Morgan's crazy in all the stories. Like, there's not a story where she's not crazy. She's crazy in all of them.
Well,
I was just like, I don't know. Like, I mean, if she was a sorceress, you know what I'm saying? Like, she kind of lightweight with toe-to-toe with Merlin, depending on who wrote the story. You know what I'm saying? Like, Merlin was a little afraid of her, depending on who wrote the story. So my thing is, I feel like there's other things you could have did besides sleeping with your brother. You know what I'm saying? To get him. But that's just me, you know. But like you said, medieval times. That's what they did.
You start talking about bloodlines and stuff like that. You always got. I mean, it's.
Oh my god! Hold on. Actually,
for now, you know.
Because even in medieval times, they treated incest as this unpardonable sin between brother if it happened between brother and sister. But they treat it like it's Arthur's fault, and I'm like, why is everyone blaming Arthur?
Because Arthur was supposed to be smarter. That's what that is. The same way, you know what? The same way, I'm gonna throw this out there, even though it's not really related, but the same way that people get this is like way biblical, and we're not really gonna talk about religion, but the same way people kind of get super mad at Eve, but it's like Adam was the dumb one. Adam knew wasn't no animals talking in the Garden of Eden. You know what I'm saying? Like, you should know this. You smarter than that. So when your woman, maybe it was because she was naked. I don't know. Men seem to lose a lot of blood when y'all see a naked woman. So
It was
maybe Arthur was like, oh, she had a
drought.
banging body.
Yeah, Adam probably was going through a drought, and she came through,
I mean,
Adam,
from what I understand with the story, Adam was in a long drought before Eve came along.
She came through with, hey, look at this, and he's like,
it's like we still trying to figure out what happened with Lilith, like what happened with that, but I don't know. Like,
maybe we need to talk about how so many men seem to lose blood cells, and you forget your training, your upbringing, all the things when a naked body's in front of you. That is the problem of a lot of these old stories. Y'all just forget.
I mean, you don't even have to talk about them.
Thank you for asking that question. I can finally do this, Rand. Nothing happened to Lilith. She never existed. She is biblical fan fiction.
Just saying. A lot happens when nakedness is involved. You know what I'm saying? Y'all lose a lot. That is a theme throughout a lot of medieval, and there's a lot of nakedness.
Yeah, it is. It really is. It's like, hey, men, like hot-blooded men, just have a thing for,
nakedness.
They do.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
But sometimes for each other, I don't know. It's just like I'm just saying, like we don't know what was going on through like medieval like Europe like that, other than what we've been told. But apparently, we only get like snippets of ideas when we go back and watch shows like even medieval fantasy stuff. It's like the same shit. It's like even when you go back, what is it? What the fucking Man in Iron Mask, like stuff like that. Like you kind of get hints of it. You kind of get hints of the stuff that goes down, and stuff like that. And it's just like, bro, like, that's y'all doing a lot.
Hey Terrence, we got to move on to our next subject. So do you want to do a final thought on it, or do you want to obviously maybe pick this up next week? What are your final thoughts on?
All right, we will pick this up last week, but before we go, I would just like to state for the record, Morgana, your entire beef with your brother could have been solved if you decided, okay, Arthur, you keep England. I'll move to Wales. Boom. Now you both got a country. It's not that serious.
But then she wouldn't be his arch nemesis.
Conflict has to be necessary, unfortunately.
Exactly.
So there has to be a reason. No one can talk about anything.
Exactly. She had to be an arch nemesis. Arch nemesis ain't an arch nemesis if they take half the pie. They gotta have a whole pie.
Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, you're so, and most of her beef isn't even with Arthur. She's mad at Arthur for being born because Uther married her mother and had Arthur. You can't be mad at Arthur for existing. Existing's all he does.
Arch nemesis. I'm just saying.
Hey, some people are petty like that, man. It's like
Thanos could have used his powers to create more resources and instead wiped out half the population on the Earth. So
we would have just gone to war over that stuff.
So I'm just saying. Okay. All right.
He never called himself the reasonable, insane Titan. He called himself.
Listen, don't get me hyped up because he wasn't the Mad Titan. Really, you know what? Let me just go ahead. We're going to the second.
Let's move on because I already know she has a whole dissertation she wants to spill about MCU Thanos.
We're gonna go on to the next topic, which
I think I'm in sick of something.
Because we didn't have 30 minutes to talk about. We gotta move on, y'all. We gotta move on. So really quick, well, not really quick, but Jensen brought up a really good announcement. Obviously, I'm sure everybody saw it. Is the last season of Attack on Titan is coming out, and they just released the new trailers. Again, for anybody who reads the manga, I am not a manga reader, so please don't super spoil if you do read the manga. But if you saw the trailer, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, I mean,
You don't have to
first,
answer.
I don't read the manga. First of all,
Well, wait a minute. Jensen was first. Jensen, go
No,
ahead.
I'm
you
sorry.
better let me talk. You've been talking for like an hour now.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, but well, first of all, I don't read the manga, so everything is new to me. You know,
Mhm.
I'm a manga reader, but certain things I'm not in a rush to find out. And Attack on Titan, one of those things I just want to watch. So
Right.
when I sent, and I was actually like a day late watching it because I seen it when it popped up, but I just got to doing other stuff. So I finally watched it last night, and I had to watch like 3 times because I was so impressed by the visuals. This is all out like warfare right now. The Titans with
Yep.
like machine guns on their back and stuff. Different Titans I haven't seen yet. They showed more places outside the walls, and this is the final season too, so it's all or nothing right now. And like this is gonna probably go down. It's probably one of the better animes finales we've probably seen in some years. So I'm excited.
Same.
Yeah. For the record, I'm not going to spoil the manga, so I'm just saying from the trailer, we got to jump Aaron. We got to jump whoever Aaron's fighting. Both sides just need to be jumped because they both wilding.
Like I was watching it and it took me a second going through it because it goes through some stuff so fast. But towards the end, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. They're after Aaron, which makes sense because Aaron had his awakening, I guess, if you will, in season 3. So it
Mm-hmm.
makes sense that whatever it is that he's deciding to do, whether he's going to erase humanity's memory again or not, I think is going to be something that'll be interesting to watch. But the fact that they're now after him is interesting.
Okay,
I
quick.
honestly still have to like catch up from I think I have to finish the 3rd season of Attack on Titan because I've been reluctant to finish it because like season 2 kind of was just like it was kind of just man to me, and like I didn't really like had that big a desire to finish it, but
There's a lot
uh
of politics. There's a
a,
lot of
a
politics.
lot in the 2nd
There's a
season.
lot.
Yeah.
So hopefully like I'm gonna get around to like finishing up and catching up and stuff or whatever, because I mean since it's to be the last season and stuff, and I kind of know what happens in the manga more or less, but like not completely. So,
We're
but I
just
kind of
waiting for the
know.
manga to end.
So
Yeah,
what
at this point,
Right.
we're just waiting for them.
what is the show about?
In the anime, you learn that they're all literally just one race. It's just their DNA is more susceptible to Titan manipulation. And I forget even why the Titan thing happened. I forget because it's been a while since I watched it. But
Explain like it was really complicated.
go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, well, basically, a long time ago, like about a millennia before the show actually begins, this one chick named Historia, the original Historia, not our Historia.
Right.
She ate something that gave her that mutated her DNA and gave her the ability to turn into
There we
Titans.
go. Mm-hmm.
But because she was a slave, and the king was like, "Oh, hey, you're a super powerful living weapon. I'm going to sleep with you, and then that way, this power will be in my bloodline forever, and I will be heralded as a king, as a hero, despite the fact that I've done absolutely nothing with this." And then, so there's two kinds of people. So now there's two different kinds. There's the people that descended from that girl, who are called Eldians, and then there's the quote unquote normal humans.
Okay.
Who locked all the Eldians in an island and let the Titans, who are Eldians who got Titan related and can no longer turn back human because they no longer have memories or brains and blah blah blah.
Right.
Okay.
And just locked them on an island to die. And now Aaron and his group's like, you know what? We did not appreciate being locked on an island to die. We're going to take all this power that we have, and we're going to come see you in the street.
And it's really weird because when you find out, I guess when you find out, because again, I don't read the manga, so obviously that was a little bit tidbit that I didn't know. So I don't read the manga or whatever. But when you find out who Aaron's father was, and how he tried to basically try to take the serum from this one family who's kind of been controlling it all this time, and when he learned the story and the history behind it, he stole the serum and injected it into Aaron as a kid, and it's just weird. So Aaron's carrying around he's carrying around the Titan DNA I don't think he's carrying around the founder DNA, right? That's Historia, right?
No, Historia is natural. Historia is naturally the daughter of the founder.
So then,
but Aaron was injected with that DNA all the way back in season 2, so he has it now, as well as his own Titan, the Attack Titan.
Right.
And yes, that's where the title comes from.
Oh shit!
So I'm telling you, the first episode. That's how I got into it. I watched the first episode and I was like, "Whoa!" Like it's go all the time in season 1. Season 2 and season 3 are definitely more political, and they get into the backgrounds of some of the other characters. Like you find out more about Levi, who's one of the main characters. You find out more about his past, and all of that. But it's just a war. It's a war between humanity, but they're technically all the same race, and they don't know it because the most powerful Titan, I forget what his thing is called, but he has the ability to erase memories.
Okay.
So he's been erasing memories through generations. The memories of the people of both the Titans and humanity have been getting erased generation after generation. And I forget why. I don't know if he just wants to keep the war going. I can't remember why. Whoever gets this Titan juice has decided to erase memory.
He wanted Aaron to. He wanted to get to Aaron so that Aaron could get the power of the original Titan, and then he would use Aaron's power. Hold on, this is complicated. Then he would use Aaron's power to talk to the original Titan and use the original Titan's power to make it so that all the people who have the potential to become Titans would be completely sterile. Which, is what's the word I'm looking for? Genocide? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's genocide.
So it's just real interesting. It's a lot going on.
Simply put, it's a lot of status, political, and human experimentation going on.
Yep.
Or whatever, and but it's funny is so much that is going on in the manga and the movie. It just constantly reminds me how a piece of shit the live action movie was.
Oh, I didn't watch the live action.
Ooh, no, you dodged a bullet. That movie was garbage. Like it followed the original material like almost not at all. Like nothing was familiar at all, dude. Like you dodged a bullet. That movie was terrible.
But for the record, I don't think I watched too many live action adaptations that are based off of animes anyway. I think except for I've heard good things about Rurouni Kenshin live action. I heard that was
Rurouni Kenshin was cool. The Bleach one
was terrible.
Bleach wasn't that bad to me.
No, it was
pretty bad.
No, it was.
But
that's a conversation for another day. But it was bad.
I need you. If you never take any of my advice in this world, take this advice: avoid the live action Devilman movie. Avoid it.
They have a live action Devilman movie.
No, they don't.
Okay. All right. I hear you.
So in all honesty, with season 4 of Attack on Titan coming out, I mean, now's probably, if you've never watched it, Jamal, now might be a good time, because one of the problems is the hiatuses between seasons take too damn long. They're so long. And I know for a while the writers, I don't think they knew that Attack on Titan would take off the way it did, so then they had to write more manga. Okay. You know what I'm saying? In order for the anime, I mean, it's just all this stuff. So, I mean, but since season 4 is coming, I believe all 3 seasons are out there. I think you can watch them on Crunchyroll. I mean, now if you ever wanted to see what it was like, I would say just watch season 1. And if you feel like you want to keep going, keep going, because season 4 is getting ready to come out. So there won't be another long break between seasons.
Right.
I have to check it out.
It's pretty good.
Mhm.
At least I think it's pretty good.
I mean, on the
It's
bright
it's
side,
pretty nuts. It's pretty nuts,
on the bright side, at least we
dude.
can take comfort in one thing. Since all of us grew up in the 90s, at least we can all take comfort in one thing and one thing only. No matter how bad adaptations get in the modern day, they will never, ever, 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 ever be worse than Saban's Mass Rider.
I mean, I didn't hate Mass Rider when it was on.
I didn't hate it either. It was it was like hand in hand with Power Rangers, man, and like Beetleborgs and all of that.
Beetleborgs, I hated. I didn't care for Beetleborgs that much.
Yeah, I didn't either. It's just like around that time. That's the
Okay, hold on.
Shit.
It's like, look, Mass Rider spun off from Power Rangers. I give it that for spinning off of Power Rangers to try to incorporate that same feel to it. It wasn't a great show, but it was by far not the worst one that I've seen in that same category.
Yeah, the, like tattooed teenagers from Beverly Hills.
So
Oh
bad.
jeez.
It was
Oh
so
jeez. Please.
They
Why
tried
did you have to bring that up?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I've constantly been
You're right.
trying to spend the
I
rest of
know.
my life to
Okay.
forget that. That's
You're right.
like,
You're right.
oh,
No one else thinking. I'm sorry.
your entire
now all the memories are flooding back. Damn it.
Superhuman samurai. No, you're right. You're right.
but you're wrong on this one because Mass Rider was so bad that Toei not only did Toei forbid Saban from ever touching Kamen Rider again, they didn't let any American studio touch Kamen Rider again until Kamen Rider Dragon Knight all the way in 2009, and they sent Haim Saban a samurai sword with the Japanese word with the Japanese words for seppuku on it.
Wow.
With the implication being they wanted
Are you serious? That's
I
quite
wish I was
extreme, isn't it?
I assume they weren't fans.
Savage. They just
Damn. Well, I said like take the samurai sword seppuku on it. Like, wow. That's wild.
Again, for those of you watching who don't know what seppuku is a term for Japanese honorable ritualistic suicide, usually done by samurai when they failed their master.
And they literally have to cut their stomachs open.
The implication being that they hated that show so much that they sent him a samurai sword and told him to kill himself. That is the implication of what sending a samurai sword with that word means.
Mm-hmm. That's quite interesting, but I mean, look, you have a point. There's a reason why we haven't seen another Kamen Rider adaptation for 15 years.
We got Dragon Knight, but Dragon Knight was good, and it just got screwed by the company.
Yeah, because like I remember catching it once and not really knowing what it was, but I'm like, wait a minute, is
this kind of dope?
Right, but like I never knew when it came on, and that was kind of like when like Saturday morning stuff was like on a respirator. So
yeah,
before they finally killed off the Saturday morning blocks. So it was just like, wow.
Yeah. But Dragon Knight was actually pretty good. The only problem was it was on WB when WB was just trying to get rid of all the Saturday morning stuff and just burn it out real quick. Like, we don't have time for this. We don't have time for this. We don't have time for this.
Wonderful. Thank you, WB.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, with that, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next topic, which is comics, which is honestly all of y'all except for me, really. So, but with this one, I know one of the main things that Jensen wanted to talk about was comics returning to stores, like actual comics returning to stores. And then there were some pretty big news that came out where Marvel is getting the rights back to Daredevil. So, and I was getting Jamal clarified for me because I read something different. I thought we were talking about like the pause that Netflix put on Marvel, where once the shows got off of Netflix, Marvel couldn't make any, shows similar for like 2 years, but they're talking about the character himself getting those rights back. So Jensen, did you want to go ahead and get on this one?
Well, first of all, I'm glad they got the rights back to Daredevil. So hopefully that'll be a domino effect onto getting all the other characters. I haven't, unless I missed some, I haven't heard anything about like Punisher, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Jessica Jones.
We don't care about Jessica Jones, though.
I don't want to say that, but thank you.
Okay.
I didn't want to say that, but thank you.
What?
Yeah, but you got to include But I'm glad they got him back, and I really hope they keep the same character. The guy that played Daredevil.
Yeah, Charlie Cox.
Yeah, I hope they can keep him. But if something happens like a kind of dispute or he just don't want to, that's fine. But I hope everything in their power they do that they can keep him around. Now what they will do for him, I don't know. I always say, like I was saying earlier, the guy that played Bullseye, I feel would be like a great Moon Knight whenever they get that going, but I don't know how that would work.
Colin Farrell.
Hell
No.
Is that Colin Farrell?
Can we erase? Can we just erase all remnants of that original Daredevil movie, please?
that was terrible.
Like,
It
Y'all
doesn't even
talk about
exist.
the movie. Y'all not talk about the show, right?
No,
I was like, wait a
I
minute.
don't know what they're talking about.
Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
okay.
You said person
the
that
thing
played
is,
Bullseye.
the thing is
that
that the Netflix contract or whatever is basically going to expire soon, to where MCU proper can use Daredevil to their heart's content. Is the situation. So since the TV and movie studio things, whatever, they're all under the same umbrella and not answering to two different higher ups now. Right. Which would be awesome, and I'm pretty sure Charlie Cox would love to return. So
yes, he said that in a few interviews that he would love to come back and play Daredevil.
Right, because
He was good. I thought he was really good.
He did it perfectly.
He was really good.
He did it. I think besides he didn't have the red hair, but that's
fine. I can forget that.
Yeah,
I can forget
that. But yeah, I think that was great news. It was definitely a shocker today. Some great to hear what all what's been going on, and then it's of course was going forward with the MCU. Now, do they actually bring them to the actual MCU? I don't know. Well, let me take it back to the actual movie MCU. I don't know. They might just keep them like just on the Disney app as separate shows, or do some cross references every now and then where you'll see like an Iron Man poster and like a scene on Luke Cage or something like that, or seeing like Spider-Man or somebody swinging a distance like with Iron Fist, and they be like, who is that? Like I can see some cross reference stuff if they decide to keep them separate from like the shows, from the movies. And I mean, I'm just saying, I'm happy for him to be here, and I'm proud. I'm glad
he'll be back because they like making money.
Right.
You know what I would love to see, like when you have the next Spider-Man movie, you have like Spider-Man get in court or whatever, and then Matt Murdock is his lawyer or some shit like that. That would
if they do that, that would be
that would be tight. That would be tight.
That would
it would be cool as hell. They started casually, like inserting these characters in each other's stories.
Right.
Yeah,
that'd be fantastic. That's actually like the Marvel universe is how it goes.
That's how they normally do it.
Right, it's like how they do it. Just like boom. By the way, I got this guy. He's blind. He's a lawyer.
Yeah, and then on the other side, how you have like Jennifer Walters, the She-Hulk, defending whoever.
It's like either if it's either Matt or Jen, like that would be awesome. Like either or. Like I'm down for either or.
Yeah. But you know what I'm waiting for, right? We need those Iron Fist rights to come back.
Yeah, I think we're still like an additional year.
No, I'm talking about Iron Fist season 3.
Right. Like I think because when did that go off? Wasn't it like in 2018?
I don't know. I'm just joking, man. That show was shit.
The first season was pretty subpar. The second season actually was not bad.
Wait, what we talking about?
Iron Fist. That show was aggressive.
Oh, I didn't even bother.
Yeah, it was aggressive.
You said Iron Fist.
Yeah,
it was Boo Boo.
Yeah,
that was doodle water.
Oh man, I guess I'm on the island by myself. Then.
No, Kyle, let me say this because honestly, like I remember watching this series myself. I'm gonna say the first 4 episodes was especially bad, but when it got when it got to like episode 5 on forward, it was like an entirely different series. It was like they switched directors and writers or something.
See,
Because
this is the thing. See, this is what this show had in common, unfortunately, with another Marvel show that didn't last. Scott Buck was a showrunner for the first season. He also was a showrunner for Inhumans, and he was doing both of those shows at the same time. So that's very telling. So
you know what other show he did?
What?
Dexter season 4.
Didn't know that.
No,
did not know that.
Yeah. Now you know.
So the common denominator, the lowest common denominator was Scott Buck as far as the quality of those seasons, because it's like people will say what they want about Finn Jones or whatever. I didn't have that big an issue with him outside of the writing and what he was directed to do. But for me personally, like when they did the first season, when they did Defenders, that personally showed me that season was not all his fault. So it was like when the second season came about, it was like, okay, he definitely put some more work in for this season, because obviously the second season was like miles above the first one. So like not the greatest show, but like they definitely had better writing in the second season.
Yeah.
So so it's like from that going forward, it's like, okay, if y'all got some competent people working on these shows and doing whatever, we'll be fine. Now I know like some of y'all didn't really care too much about Jessica Jones early on. Like
I like Jessica Jones.
It's like I don't have a problem with Jessica Jones, the show. I understand that it's a very slow burn of a show, but I don't think it's bad. Like I just think that it just really depends on your preference and what you expect out of a show, whether like you want something whether you can tolerate something that's a slow build up, or you want something that happened like almost every episode to that degree. And for me, I'm more on the faster pace side of it. So it's like there was some spots in Jessica Jones where I'm just like, okay, can we get to something else now? So, but
I like the first season.
Yeah, the first season was cool. I honestly think I actually really did like the third season, even though that was probably like the better written season without David Tennant in it.
There was a third season.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's bad.
Yeah.
I haven't even seen past the first one.
Yeah, it wasn't bad to me. It wasn't bad.
Yeah, no. Thing is that Jessica Jones wasn't even a bad show. Honestly, out of the definitely out of the four, Jessica Jones is my second favorite next to Daredevil. Like I like Jessica Jones better than Luke Cage and Iron Fist.
That's fair. That's fair.
Are we counting the Punisher up in here?
I did.
Oh no, we weren't.
Okay, because Jessica Jones is at the bottom. I just need everybody to understand that. So
I actually haven't seen the Punisher series at all.
What?
First season great. Second season
Film School is
okay, but not as good. First season great. Second season good, but not as good.
Right. Yeah, I saw season 1. I didn't get into season 2 because once they announced that all the shows were being canceled, it was like, why am I watching this?
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. See, I felt that. It's weird. I felt that way too, but at the same time, it's like I know that. See, Marvel tends to always like have a backup plan just in case something falls off, because is a massive failure as Inhumans were, I'm pretty sure that they still have a backup plan for Inhumans way down the line, because they're still using it to some degree. I mean, they're still actively using an Inhuman character, which is Quake, on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and they are tying that into the MCU, so they're going to revisit the Inhumans at some point. So that just, again, same thing with Runaways and Cloak and Dagger. I'm pretty sure we're going to see those characters back at some point. We just don't know when. It's like they have to work out some licensing and logistic issues and whatever, because they had contracts with different networks and whatnot. But once they kind of get those things sorted out, I'm fairly certain we're going to see those characters again.
I'm with it.
Yeah.
I mean,
if you say,
especially how Punisher did that last season.
I ain't seen as much spoilers, but
I wasn't. I mean, why not? Why not bring him back?
So why not? I mean, Frank Castle out there dropping bodies. That's what he do. That's what he do.
Yeah, him. The Avengers, the one we see on the MCU, are there just walking the street, and, or whatever. They just hear like some explosion. They're like, what's going on? This is a Punisher that shows are just like all kind of dead bodies or whatever enemy going on. Like I'm doing y'all job for y'all right, since y'all can't do it right.
Right. Speaking of which, now that I think about it, like I really wouldn't mind seeing Kingpin come back. I really enjoyed that Netflix Kingpin.
Oh yeah, he was great. I think he even I want to say he said he wants to come back.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Vincent D'Onofrio. No, he's amazing as Kingpin. I actually like Marco Clark Duncan as Kingpin also in the film with Ben Affleck. But,
it wasn't.
I mean,
I think as far as character portrayals go, that was probably like the one that was the most. I don't know. Maybe it's just because that like Marco Clark Duncan was such a huge human being. You could buy him being this massive threat. So,
yeah, he was he commanded the space like very well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's just like what, and it's like it's like even thinking back at that, it's like, you know what, it could have been better, but I didn't hate Colin Farrell's Bullseye either.
Yeah, I didn't either.
It could have been written a bit better.
Agreed.
But
Colin Farrell's a good actor anyway, so he pulls off like whatever he's given usually.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think that the old Daredevil movie was that bad. It's just that it had a few bad things that people remember. Like
look, the director's cut actually improved the movie. I'll say that. The director's cut actually improved the movie a bit. But the thing is, the movie as a whole, it has not held up well.
Yeah. Agreed. Speaking of director's cut, if I can just take like a quick segue really quickly. The director's cut, like, I'm not sure if you guys discussed Snyder's Justice League director's cut.
We're aware.
Like a point of interest at all?
We're aware. We're aware.
I'm just curious of people's like thoughts on it. If that was even a avenue I could go down.
Well, I kind of wanted to discuss it a little bit. So, it just in addition with like the HBO Max thing or whatever. Yeah, but I mean,
I forgot about the HBO Max thing. Oh, whoops! Sorry, my bad.
I know we good. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, the thing is, I mean, we could probably segue into it a little bit in a minute, but aside from that, I mean, yes, I mean, Daredevil, the director's cut version of the movie, actually improved the movie a bit, not a lot, but a bit. It was an improvement. Can't say the same thing for Elektra. We have to bury that. We have to bury that one altogether. Like I
swear to God, I forgot that movie even existed. I'm not even lying.
Okay, before the record, Elektra wasn't horrible. It's just she came out at the wrong time when women's superhero movies weren't appreciated, in my opinion. It wasn't. Listen, it's not Mortal Kombat Annihilation bad. Okay, just for the record. Okay, it's not. I didn't say the first Mortal Kombat because the first Mortal Kombat movie, and honestly, to me, wasn't that bad. Okay, but I kind of like.
Oh no, it wasn't. It wasn't.
The first movie was. The first movie was very competent. Like the first Mortal Kombat movie was a competent movie.
Yes.
Okay, not great, but it was solid. Annihilation, they threw
that shit to the wind. Okay,
exactly.
Dax's aluminum foil arm, and I mean they just threw that shit to the wind.
He just ripped the damn things off. And then you gonna take your damn arms off, and then all of a sudden you beating the hell out of Motaro. What the hell?
Right, I was like, but wait, was the arm supposed to give him his power though? Oh,
I was under the impression that they were actually like implants. Like they were in his arms, not like it was like a coating. Like he had like some cosmetic surgery or some shit.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny? As a kid watching that movie, I think that was when I first started having an interest in editing. Because there was so much bad editing in that movie
Yes.
And it was like it is just like I just hysterically laugh at it now because of how bad it was. And it's like you have a second movie. I'm sure the movie had more money, but the movie looks astronomically worse than the first one. How do you manage to do that?
Yeah, that is
like budget was cut. And for 2, they got rid of Christopher Lambert.
I think Christopher Lambert just dodged the bullet. I think he just understood the kind of bullshit they was making. It was just like, you know what? I don't even want to be part of this shit. I'm good.
What about that reptile fight?
Wait, you talking about with Raiden and the reptiles?
Yeah, with the CG.
Man, look. First of all the CG in that was bad. But I just love how the fact that when the fight started, you could tell that it's actually Ray Park doing the fighting.
I try to block it out.
I
only recognized the reptile fight in the first one with Liu Kang. That's the only one.
That's all
because he was getting his ass whooped. Liu Kang won by plot armor. Liu Kang was the focus, and he won by plot armor because reptile woke up whooping ass. That's just all that was.
I mean, he did like that first. If that first attack wasn't telling.
Right, like he just woke up with the ass. That's just got off the ground and the statue came to life. Bam, put him through a wall.
I'm talking about how you so bad you get the announcer saying your name when you ask him.
Right.
Oh shit!
Hey, hold on, wait, because this is my fault. I kind of got us off on a tangent of Mortal Kombat. I'm sorry, because we were talking about Elektra. So let me use a different comparison. Catwoman was terrible.
Oh yeah,
Elektra was not in my. I guess I have a different lens because I'm a woman, and at the time that Elektra and Catwoman and stuff came out, there was not really any women superhero movies that made it to the theaters. You know what I'm saying?
There were not. There were not. I would give you that.
Catwoman was horrible. I don't give a shit.
It was.
It was. It was terrible. Okay, and her antagonist. Okay, they were talking about makeup.
Yes.
Okay, her antagonist was the CEO who had makeup that kind of made her invulnerable, but somehow she got whooped anyway. Halle Berry can't fight. Okay, I mean it's just this whole thing. But Elektra to me could it have been better? Absolutely. But I guess I just thought it wasn't that bad. I guess
was it the worst? No. I put it this way. I would say that Elektra was a bad movie on the strength that it's not memorable. Like you forget it. Like you will probably forget it like probably in a couple months after seeing it.
That's fair.
You just literally have no interest in going back to watch it. And it's like with Catwoman, like that movie was like so notoriously bad. It's just like, and you just really looking at it like, oh, they really did this.
It's terrible.
I thought that costume was terrible.
You thought what, Jamal?
I thought the costume for Catwoman was terrible.
It was horrible.
It was, honestly. I mean, it's like, okay, y'all trying to like, okay, y'all trying
to got to be Catwoman was
y'all trying to design it to accentuate her body, blah blah blah. Look, we know Halle looks good, okay, but that costume design was still garbage. Like, it's like
her whole. Listen. That's a whole nother rant about how bad the Catwoman movie was. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, we should probably just do a show like on.
Let's hope we don't. We need to talk about since the subject was director's cuts. Was your question, Jerry? Oh, I'm sorry, Cassio government out there. My bad. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Was your question are director's cuts needed? Is that what, or has anybody seen it? What is that what you were trying to ask?
No, it wasn't necessarily a question. I just kind of want to make a comment on like director's cut, specifically the Justice League one by Zack Snyder. You know what I'm saying? Just because I felt like that was like newer news as well, and I was also curious as to what folks like on this podcast thought about that. Thought about like, I mean, are you guys like just done with Justice League? Do you want to see a director's cut? Like, do you think there should be one? I mean, I'm just kind of like. A quick, like 5-minute conversation on it, very, very quick. You know what I mean? It's just so
I'm gonna throw my two in because obviously a lot of you have a little bit more on this with ties to comments. So I'm gonna throw just my 2 cents in. For me myself personally, I'm one of the people who didn't mind the Justice League movie. So I'm just gonna put that out there. Here's the thing. I am not saying it was dope. That's not what I'm trying to say. but I liked a lot of the dialogue around. Well, not like. I'm sorry. I don't. Not the dialogue. I didn't think it was. Well, it probably should have went like directly to video. Maybe like it wasn't as good, but it wasn't super like horrible. Like I felt like Suicide Squad was worse, but that's just me. The only reason I'm okay with the Snyder cut is because it gets my boy Henry Cavill as this kind of darker Superman, hopefully more development and a little bit more exposure. Because I honestly think he needs to be back in the cape. That's just I just feel like his version of Superman, there's a lot left to do with him. And with the Snyder cut, and I think there were talks of him being able to like make appearances on like other movies, that may be coming out. And I hope it's all to lead up to us coming out with a bona fide Man of Steel 2. So that's probably the only reason I'm okay with it. Outside of that, I don't know if it's needed, but that's just I haven't seen it yet, but that's just kind of my 2 cents on the subject.
Well, I want to see it.
Oh, Jensen?
I want to see it. Yeah, I had no problem with Justice League. I felt we should have got all the individual movies out the way first.
Thank you.
What happened?
Okay, right.
I think Jensen just was thinking, man.
Jensen,
thoughts,
you get
man.
lost
He got them thoughts, baby.
You got that Arkansas pause going on?
Yeah. Well, I'll throw my 2 cents in it.
Okay.
I didn't care for Justice League. I thought it was a terrible movie. I thought it was poorly edited. And when you watch the movie, you can tell that there's 2 different visions there.
Yeah.
And especially when you have Joss Whedon and Snyder, they have 2 totally different looks on movies. And if you look back at the trailers for Justice League, it's a totally different movie.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing was that when Snyder left the movie, he left under some like real bold circumstances. His daughter passed away.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's a win for fandom because we have so many movies now where they're put together and you have these movies where you have a vision that's just like these studios are putting movies together to spite the fans instead of listening to what the fans want, like Star Wars. Right. So when they announced that they were doing the Snyder cut, I felt like it validated the fans because the fans were looking for like this cut of the movie just to see let Snyder do his thing. And it's hopefully we get the Ayer cut for Suicide Squad because these movies are like we're gutted. Like even if they turned out to be bad once the original cuts came out, these movies were gutted. They were gutted because DC didn't have a vision. But we know that Snyder can throw a decent movie together because we've seen Watchmen.
Yes.
You know, Watchmen was a decent movie. 300 was a
300.
Dawn of the Dead was a decent movie. So you telling me that this guy, you just throw him to the wind, especially after his daughter died like that? It's just bogus.
Yeah, I felt like that was wrong.
Yeah,
I felt like
it was.
Yeah,
I'm glad that he's getting a chance to at least throw his vision out there. He's been away from movies for like 2 years, so he's come back and hopefully he puts some more thought into it. So it's a better movie than Batman versus Superman. So I'm just happy to see it, and hopefully we get more director's cut. Hopefully this leads to a trend where we get cuts like we get like a better cut of Rise of Skywalker, or get that Ayer cut where we actually get to see Jared Leto as the Joker.
I actually think I might have heard that there are some directors going back and looking at some of their films, to possibly do revisions to them and possibly do director's cuts to their films in the past.
I think it's good. I mean, we see director's cuts all the time on DVD, so I don't even understand why this is controversial because it's so many different director's cuts. Like Blade Runner has 5.
What?
The
last one?
No, the first one.
No, the first
one.
The original Blade Runner has like several different.
I did not know that.
Yeah. They have different.
Like I don't know. The thing is that with Blade, it's first of all, it's Ridley Scott. Like Ridley Scott is supposed to be was one of like the mecca sci-fi directors of his time and stuff, whatever. So of course they were going to give him that. My outlook on this, I I think it kind of opens up a can of worms in a way, because Justice League as a whole, like, I didn't think it was a bad movie. I think like the more I've seen it, the more flaws in it I saw, and it just was like, okay, it's a fun movie, but it's not really that good of a movie. Like, they whatever. The thing is, there was a whole lot going on, like, leading up to trying to make this movie happen. First of all, they Warner Brothers overworking this man, who's like, Zack Snyder he's an okay filmmaker. He's not a great filmmaker, in my opinion. Like, he's had a couple of decent movies. 300 was a decent movie. Watchmen itself, essentially more or less going by the book verbatim, he did a good job presenting that in live action. But when it comes to this, honestly, I feel like this was an intervention by AT&T. To be honest, like, I feel like that they kind of flexed their muscles when it came to saying like, hey, Warner Brothers, give this man his money and give the fans what they want. Now, okay, a good portion of people saying like, okay, you want to see what Zack Snyder's vision was. I mean, okay, I'm not opposed to that, but what I'm saying is, I really feel like that AT&T has come along and kind of just basically superseded Warner Brothers and was just like, okay, do this, because now you got director of Suicide Squad want to do his cut, even though there's technically already a cut out there. And it's like, it's just like, at this point, it's like, I really don't. First of all, ain't really a whole lot of people going back looking for Suicide Squad like that right now.
What? I actually like Suicide Squad.
I didn't. The thing is that, like, up to a point, it was like, okay, there was a couple of cool things in the movie, but as a whole, that movie just was like, no, because for one,
I felt lied to by Suicide Squad.
That's another thing too. It's that on top of the fact that the movie as a whole, when you go back and watch it, first of all, everybody should have died. Everybody in that movie should have died. Every single one of them. Like, they basically plot armored the hell out of that movie, like extra hard, like to the point where it was no hiding it. It was that bad to me. So outside of Deadshot and Harley and a little bit of Diablo, everything else really didn't. I just was like, no. Like, if this was not connected to anything, if it wasn't meant to help build up a universe, it's like, okay, I could pass this off as like a decent little action sci-fi-ish movie, whatever the case may be. But if they were going to do a Suicide Squad movie, to me, they should have based it off of Assault on Arkham or something close to it. Because first of all, everything that they were going against or whatever in that movie, they should have died in a snap, literally. But because whatever, they had to do it this way. So personally, I feel like they are beating a dead horse. And while there are movies that I would like to see some cuts for, I don't think they're all as necessary, because my thing is, if you couldn't, I can only accept a director's cut if I feel like it adds something new or something else that wasn't already in the final cut of the film. Because in my opinion, if you have a final cut of the film, that should have been already planned out, cut, it made sense, have a beginning, a middle, and an end, done with. Well, that's how I approach director's cuts a lot of times, because it's like, to me, it's like even going back to like looking at, because again, they started this trend like even back with Batman v Superman. The fact that they had to release a director's cut of Batman v Superman for the original story to make sense, that was an insult. To me, that was an insult, because like there was literally plot points in the original theatrical cut that made no sense until they put those scenes back in the extended cut. It was like, no. We're not doing this, Warner Brothers. We're not doing this. Let's not do this now. But it's like part of me is curious about the Justice League cut. Don't get me wrong. It's like part of me is curious, but I've moved on. Like I don't care. I don't care anymore.
Well, the problem with that is that Ayer is saying, and I believe that watching the movie, that like big chunks of the movie were cut out. Like you don't get a guy like Jared Leto to come in and do the movie, and he only's in the movie like 12 minutes. Like you don't do that, and then like you say, like nobody died, but it's called Suicide Squad. I believe him when he says that there's a better cut of the movie out there. And I just think that, when Justice League bombed, Warner Brothers got spooked and just gutted the movie. And then the actual cut of the movie was done by a music video editor. So it wasn't, Ayer didn't have his hands on it at all.
I mean, maybe. It's like I said, maybe because look, Warner Brothers is square to blame for a lot of what went on or whatever. But like, I'm just kind of at that point where it's like, okay, look. Y'all need to just take y'all L and move on to some newer projects. Like that's just how I feel. It's like, look, as stupid as it was, it's like Suicide Squad walked away with a goddamn Oscar when it was all said and done. Like it just move on and do something else. Like y'all don't have to dig this back up again. Like even Jared Leto was moved on at this point. It's like
that's because Jared got a really bad rap from his role in Suicide Squad. Like he was talked about of how bad his which I have to admit I'm one of the ones who didn't care for his portrayal. And I realize that there are people that may say, well, you can't get a good sense of someone's portrayal when they're on the screen for 2 minutes. But in 2 minutes,
that's
what
true.
I saw, I was like, nah. You know what I'm saying? But I'm a huge Will Smith fan, but he was not evil enough for me. I felt like he kept trying to give I felt like he kept trying to give his character they gave his character like a happy spin, for his daughter. Got to see his daughter.
Part of it.
And then from Suicide Squad, Harley got her own freaking movie, which was unnecessary to me. So I don't know, like, so I guess if the cut adds more, I kind of agree with kind of both of you. I'm kind of ready to move on to something else, I guess, because like Suicide Squad came out. I'm sorry, not Suicide Squad. Justice League came out 2-3 years ago, something.
Yeah, it was about 3 years ago,
like that. Like I feel like we can go ahead and just move on.
Honestly, I guess that my whole take on the whole Greta's cut for Zach, I agree with Jamal like almost 100%. Like this is Zack Snyder's baby. Like this film is what it costs $500 million to make.
Yeah,
it's literally the highest budget of any superhero movie ever created. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is that like Justice League culminates like three of America's, like the original trilogy, Wonder Woman, Superman, and Batman. Like this movie is kind of like a it's like this is a film that's like 50 years in the making. You understand what I mean? It's like these characters were created. I mean, not even
5 years too early.
Maybe we got you. Go ahead.
You know what I mean? It's like this. The movie means something. I mean, it's not just like we're watching, just some fictional characters just on the screen, just like doing backflips and everything. It's like these characters have been characters our grandparents have been like watching, our parents have watched, and now we have an opportunity right now to see them live action, and then you give us that shit. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, like there has to be like a you know what I'm saying? There has to be like something we can do to salvage that, because I think the film is important. I think it's important film. And I think that giving Zack Snyder the creative control that he should have had the entire time is like the right thing to do,
Mm-hmm. I mean, to me, maybe, unless they gonna unnerf Wonder Woman, I don't want to see it.
Unnerf?
They nerfed her.
Yeah, like movie. She was hella nerfed in
She Justice was League. Nerfed as hell in Justice League. Yeah. And again, the woman on the panel, the design of the Amazons from what they were in the Wonder Woman movie to Justice League, it's like why we back to this non-battle shit that don't make sense. You know what I'm saying? This stuff that shows more skin than truly protecting women who have been fighting longer than honestly anybody else in the movie. The Amazons have been fighting longer than anybody else in the movie. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
they nerfed Wonder Woman like hell in that movie. So if they're gonna unnerf her, I'll watch it. If they
And
gonna keep her
that's
lightweight nerf, I'm not interested.
right. And
So
that's one of the things. It's like, again, we're going back and trying to say that, like, okay, to follow what Zack Snyder's original vision was, blah blah blah, or whatever. I mean, the thing is, if we at least had some time to get used to what he wanted to do, instead of like Warner Brothers wanting him to like just to create this universe in less than 2 years.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, maybe we would have had something that like makes sense and actually is earned. See, part of the problem with Justice League is it wasn't really earned yet. The thing is that there was still like a lot more stuff that they needed to do to kind of like make this universe make sense, especially coming off of something that was polarizing like Man of Steel. Granted, I like Man of Steel. Some things could have been done a little bit differently, but at the same time, you go for Man of Steel and then we go right into BVS, which left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. Still does to this day. And it's like, and again, they're doing all this stuff that's based off of his vision, and they're trying to get this launched in less than 2 years. You can't build a whole entire universe and have all this shit trying to line up in that small a frame of time, because a lot of shit doesn't make sense. Because like a lot of stuff in BVS didn't make sense. Suicide Squad barely made sense. It finally took Patty Jenkins to come along as a director to direct Wonder Woman to actually make a movie that was likable and introduced a character that, again, was arguably the best thing about BVS coming in, even though her introduction is questionable. It's still like when they came out with her movie, it's like, okay, this movie works. This gives me some hope for Justice League when it comes out. So Justice League comes out, again, Justice League came too fast. Like
that's what she said.
Just for the record, I'm watching The Office in the background, so I got that reference.
Yeah, I think I walked into that, but the thing is that like I just feel that Justice League wasn't earned yet. Like it was like a lot of stuff that they did in BVS wasn't even earned yet.
Yeah,
like they were.
Yeah.
So it's
I
like
I'm one of the few people who don't mind BVS. I didn't mind it.
I feel they killed Superman off entirely too early because
I agree with that.
Yeah.
We've only known this Superman for a movie and a half. For the death of Superman to make sense and be as emotionally resonant as it's supposed to be, we need to build up that character with the audience. You need at least 2 or 3 movies with him before you kill him off.
Yep.
Yeah, it doesn't have any impact on us as an audience. We don't really care if he dies or not.
I sure as hell didn't care.
I cared in the fact that I was like, he dead? Like, really? I cared in that, kind of thing. But I
see, that's not the same thing. That's not the reaction you want.
Really?
Did they really do Death of Superman right now?
Kind of thing. It was that kind of thing.
My problem with PBS was that they showed the whole movie in the trailer.
That too.
Okay, but in talking about that, a lot of unfortunately, I just think that's how a lot of movies are. There are a lot of movies that show the whole movie in the trailer. I just think that's just the trend.
Not entirely, because I mean, as much as we try not to do it, we still have to reference back to the House of Mouse here. The thing is, I can't really remember too much since probably Thor: The Dark World, where they gave away too much in the trailer.
I don't know. They did it with Black Panther.
No,
they did a lot. They did a lot with Black Panther. You got a lot from the previews.
They did, but like as far as watching the trailer, I don't think they gave away a lot of the movie.
I don't know. I got a lot from it.
I'm gonna say specifically because I think we've probably been on this subject for a while now. But specifically,
we got to move on here to get to our last subject.
Right, the trailer, whatever. So what was Jamal was saying? So like the trailer basically showed us Batman and Superman working together when the name of the movie is Batman versus Superman. So if we see an image of them working side by side, then we already know they're going to make up at the end of the movie. We know that already. They're going to work together. So there's no reason to even pit it off as they're going to fight each other. You understand what I'm saying?
And
That should have been left open ended. We should have never seen that. When oh God, was it? Oh shit, what was the monster? What was
Doomsday. They showed Doomsday in the trailer.
Yeah, we didn't even need to see that. We didn't see none of that stuff. All we wanted to see was Batman fight Superman. They should have left it like hanging, be like, who's gonna win? Boom, and left it like that.
You know what? And to piggyback off that, just really quick, another thing they could have left out is that we didn't have to see Wonder Woman in uniform either.
Exactly.
And regardless of how the movie turned out, imagine how people would have been in the theater when she showed up and shot and
we didn't
got
have to
that
see her
Trinity shot.
at all.
We didn't have to see that Trinity shot in the trailer at all.
At all. Thank you. Exactly.
You know
But
what?
I mean, they put her on the posters. So
Yeah,
they need to fire that intern.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they
like,
put her on the poster.
put her
So
on it.
even if you didn't see her in the trailer, she was in the damn posters.
Well, we knew they were all in the movie. The thing
Yeah.
that was like when I saw the trailer, they were like there was a teaser trailer where Superman and Batman were like at dinner at like Lex's party. That should have been the trailer, and that should have been it. Like they should have shown anything else because it was a really tense scene.
Yeah,
and you didn't need anything else.
Also, the other thing they really shouldn't have done is made Doomsday and Zod the same person. That was
Oh my God! Yes,
Zod should have been the villain, and he should have been.
You know what sucks about that? You know what sucks about them doing that with like Lex adding his blood? That pretty much killed the Superboy arc. Because that's essentially how they did the whole Superboy clone thing or whatever during the death of Superman. They essentially killed Superboy in that.
It should have been.
If they want to, they'll figure out a way to put it in.
DCEU Connor.
You said what?
Yeah, I just realized that means no DCEU Connor.
Right. I mean, that's basically what they use. Like that was essentially how they came about doing the whole Connor Kent thing, like with how they created Doomsday.
Well, you know, if they would just use Martian the Manhunter instead of Cyborg, okay, I feel like we could rewrite some of this shit. That's all I'm saying. Or we could find a way to use time travel, like how Marvel and X-Men use time travel. We could find a way to incorporate time travel and erase
Flash,
and Star Wars, and kind of erase, not Star Wars, but we can find a way to use time travel to erase a lot of this shit. That's what we can
Flash winds up not being Flashpoint. You won't have to worry about that.
As long as they get a different Flash, that's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother topic.
They just might. They just might.
Need to get rid of this dude. I don't care that some people like him. He was terrible.
Ezra is an acquired taste. I don't hate Ezra's Flash.
Ezra is not my Flash. He is not my Barry. Okay.
Are you a Grant Gustin?
So it's not just the fact that I like Grant. It's Ezra's. He was not smart. Or at least maybe the cut made him not be as smart. I hated how he ran. Get that arm flailing shit out of here. I hated his fucking elbows. I hated it. Like it gives me nightmares.
He really does look like he just learned how to run.
You know what I mean? And I hated
like he running tall grass.
I hated his suit. His suit kind of looked like a knockoff Iron Man suit. Like I hated.
It was terrible.
I hated it. I hated the whole. I just didn't like his portrayal.
I didn't like his suit at first, but it grew on me over time.
I didn't like it.
It needs improvements, but like it grew on me over time. But he definitely needs to be better written.
Get it out of here. Okay, I said it.
No, I agree. He needs a better suit. I'm not going to disagree, but I'm just saying, like the original one, like grew on me a little bit.
Yeah.
No. All right. If there's one thing I can say, real quick, I personally am sick to death of Zod. I'm sick of every Superman movie having Zod in it. Superman has an entire rogues gallery. Why do you guys just keep going Zod, Luthor, Zod, Luthor?
Look, I'm glad they didn't use Luthor first. Like shit. I mean, I was glad that they used Zod again.
Me too. I was too, actually.
But they can go another route. I mean, the thing is, like, I just felt like they should have like done something to where like it led up to Brainiac first or something.
But just like you have in a lot of Spider-Man movies, they always have the Green Goblin up in there.
God.
And we're not
You know
seeing
what I'm
him for
saying?
quite some
Batman,
time.
well,
Oh,
Joker aside, but it's like Batman was always. Hopefully, they move away from it with the new one. What they got, homeboy from Twilight. But Batman always talked his parents' death, replaying over and over. Like I didn't feel like it was that much used. I mean, hell, in the Superman movies, there's only 2 movies that use Zod. That was the one with Reeves, and
Superman
now
2
this
and
one
Man
with
of Steel.
Cavill. Those were the only movie. All the other Superman movies with Christopher Reeves and then Brandon Root coming out, Zod wasn't a part of it, and we all know Lex has, in my opinion, has to be in a lot of them because he's a nemesis. Like he's a super nemesis for Superman.
Zod,
So I just feel like
Nemesis. Hold on.
you okay?
Sorry, I keep thinking about
What happened?
It's like I think you got triggered for a minute. Hold on, you good?
I had cheesecake in my mouth and I started choking on it.
Okay.
but I feel you on the Zod thing, but I felt like it was a good way to start. It's just we don't have any more Cavill Superman movies, so you can't build on what started with him because there aren't any others. But I didn't mind it. I didn't mind
Here's what I'm saying. For one, like I said before, I feel Zod and Luthor are pre-played out as Superman villains in the live-action movies. Plus, Superman has so many good villains that you can use. Even if you're forced to make a Superman origin movie, I can think of 5 villains off the top of my head who will be better for a Superman origin movie than Luthor or Zod. What about Conduit, who is literally someone from Smallville who grew up with Clark? Kenny Braverman. Boom. You get the connection between the villain and the hero. You see them both develop. You get that character development, and you get that contrast between the two that makes the situation work. What about Mongol? Mongol is one of the first people Superman actually had to train to fight for. One of the first villains he realized pure strength isn't enough for. What about Ruin, who is a friend of Superman, a scientist turned bad because of his fear of that Superman would turn evil and his corruption by Lex Luthor. I have so many of these.
But you're talking from somebody who's a super comic reader. The average person like me doesn't know those people.
Yeah, the average person doesn't know those people because they've never been in a movie.
No, but what I'm saying is the average person like me knows Zod. We know Lex. So if you're trying to reestablish a Superman, hopefully movie odyssey, hopefully
like a fan base.
Yeah, you want to start with the people. You want to start with the ones that the people know, and then get into because honestly, Brainiac is missing. Brainiac's a huge one. But you gotta get him.
What they should have done is they should have used Zod in Batman versus Superman. They should have blended his DNA and created Bizarro, which would have been a Bizarro Superman.
Oh, that would have been a good one.
You would have had the same ending.
That would have been a good one.
Already, you thought up a great idea. Already,
but even in Batman vs Superman, when they had the employee that like lost his legs, like that could have been Metallo right there.
Yeah.
I said the same thing. Like to multiple people.
So many like missed opportunities, man. That was a perfect fucking person to be Metallo.
That could have been Hank Henshaw.
Yeah, but I always thought that even when I when the first seen the movie, I was like they should have used Bizarro, and then actually you would have had Superman have a referendum on Man of Steel because you brought back the person that he killed. You would have Batman have to see what Superman actually had to go up against when he put Zod down. And like, so you couldn't just say, oh, well, he broke his neck and killed the guy, whatever. You could have said, well, this is what I have to deal with on a daily basis. You dealing with clowns in Gotham. I have to deal with motherfuckers that can blow up the planet.
Right.
That's always been a dynamic. That is always.
But I mean, it wasn't in the movie though. Like there was no real. Batman just was insane and wanted to kill Superman, but there was no real reason why. It was just like, well,
no, you know the reason why? Because Lex Luthor wrote the movie. That's why.
Yeah.
You really think about it. Lex Luthor wrote the whole movie. He knew everybody. This man went to R&D. He didn't patent everybody's superhero logos,
names and logos, whatever.
Like he knew everything. Like he knew what everything was gonna happen. Like
all played by a terrible actor who should not have been Lex. But that's a whole nother conversation. That's a whole nother conversation. But anyway, we got to move on to our last topic because we got like 20 minutes. This is a podcast only supposed to be an hour and a half, but obviously we got 6 people out here, so we got extended.
You talk too much.
We on
That's
nerd. We
all
on
right
nerd
though.
time.
That's good chemistry. That makes for
CP
good
time right
radio.
now.
Good radio.
Let's get it, babe.
But we got to move on to our last topic, which obviously is all of what's going on in our communities and our societies right now. All of the rioting, all of the protesting, the recent the most recent 3 publicized, I'll say, killings of Black people by police officers needlessly. Obviously, it's sparking all this other kind of stuff on top of the fact that we are still in quarantine, from COVID and all that, the curfews that have gone up from, everything that's going on, and just the craziness. So I honestly, for myself personally, I honestly don't even know how to start this subject, because it's so much that has happened over a short period of time. And as we all know, police brutality and unlawful killings is something that has been going on in the Black community for ever. Yeah, basically since we were brought over here. You know what I'm saying? So it's been going on forever, but obviously, as we all know, with us living in the digital age, it's more in your face. It's more televised. It's more, the stories are constantly running and people are sharing the videos, like everywhere on social media. And it's more in our faces. And obviously for our kids, and maybe our younger siblings or our younger people out there who haven't really gone through this, this is their first round, if you will, or first bout with this being done. So, this is our time to kind of talk about it. And I don't know, stuff you want to get off your chest. This is the beep 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 uncensored part of the podcast. So, if you want to cuss or whatever, that's fine. And I guess just say what you want to say. Who wants to start, so we're all not talking over each other?
The only thing I have to say about this whole situation is it's unfortunate that it had to come to violence, but sometimes the only way to get your message heard is through fire.
Very true. I know I have friends that are more or less, still kind of like on neutral ground, but like are upset by a lot of stuff or whatever. And the thing is, I know him personally, so like I don't hold it against him too much. So I live in Hammond, Indiana, which is roughly like a half hour from Chicago, about like another 15 minutes on top of that from downtown. And I know a lot of people, friends or acquaintances who have friends that were in Chicago protesting on Saturday and stuff. And there's quite a few disturbing things that I've been hearing about. There was also protests in my hometown as well. So it's again, like I'm in this situation where I don't condone the violent part, but I definitely understand it to the point where, like, even personally, it's just like I understand the response when anarchy starts. So granted, this is not also including the opportunists that have injected themselves into the protests, because that's a problem as well. But again, there's agitators on both sides here that is not making the situation better. But how I look at it is that, how, again, you ask yourself, how long have we been trying to get our voices heard, and it's falling on deaf ears? How long? And now people are doing what they feel like they need to do and asking the question, hey, do you hear me now?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I want to make sure you're done, by the way, before I interject too.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Like, honestly, for me, dude, I feel the same way, and when it comes to looting, when it comes to, I don't know, rioting or whatever, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. It's like I don't even like think about judging those people who are looting, I have like no opinion because I'm not hurting I mean, I'm not hurting as bad as they are. You know, like
Mhm.
they're devastated, they're destroyed. And like you said, it's like how long have we been peacefully protesting? Like taking a knee. You know what I'm saying? Like you saw what they did to Colin Kaepernick. All he did was kneel. He didn't do anything but kneel, and they threw the book at him. You know what I'm saying? It's like what's happening is that there is a there is a regime. There's a racist regime that's been like going on underneath the radar for forever. And there are people who are, I think, are privileged enough to be able to believe these made up, stories in order to discredit the fact that our lives matter just as much as anybody else's. To discredit the fact that like we're being disproportionately killed at a rate than that's higher than any other ethnicity in America. We make up 13% of the population, but yet 50% of the people who are incarcerated are black. You understand what I'm saying? Like there is definitely an agenda against black people, and it's if we can't like just open our eyes up and like see that, and we have to convince people, hey, we're being killed in the middle of the streets. You know, can you march with us? Can you just like use your privilege to help us like what I'm saying, not be killed? You know what I'm saying, in the middle of the street. You
Right.
know, it's there's definitely this thing where it's like how much do we have to do? How much begging? How much pleading do we have to do before we say, you know what, fuck it, let's fuck some shit up? Oh my bad. Am I supposed to cuss on the podcast?
You're
I'm so
fine.
sorry.
You're fine.
We're full range right now, man. You
Okay,
I
good?
my
did my
mistake,
little
man.
I did my little warning advisory sound effect.
Awesome,
So
awesome.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, no. So that's one of the things for me. It's like, how long do you just sit there and allow yourself to get punched in the face before you punch the guy back? Like
Mhm.
violence. I mean, everyone talks about violence begets violence, and is that a third? But it's a knee jerk reaction if you think about it. If you get punched by someone, knee jerk reaction, you're gonna punch them back. And for me, this is what's going on. These people have been punched. They've been disregarded. Like we have to see a grown man be hung. That was a modern day hanging. Like, what do you do when
Oh
you hang
yeah.
someone? You cut off the supply of air to their neck. That man hung him. It was a lynching, modern day lynching in 2020.
Mhm.
That brings up a lot of emotions from a lot of people, even me included. Like I know my history, I know where I come from. You know what I'm saying? Like I've read enough books and I've watched enough documentaries to know like the extent of the way we've been mistreated in this country. Still to this very day, I can't convince people to even look up the word redlining to see how racist policies that were woven into the fabric of America, it still affects us right now. It affects black folks right now. And I can't convince people of that. But when we
Nope.
see a grown man be killed in the middle of the streets, for some reason, we can't get these people, these officers arrested. They'd rather have these guys run the streets. They'd rather have these guys run free, and they arrest the protesters who protest what they did, but they won't arrest the freaking cops themselves. Like that right there should tell you what America's like priority is when it comes to black life. You know?
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, part of the problem is because like you have like a whole group of people that hold cops to a higher standard, and
Yeah. The
it's
thing is,
like
yeah. Sorry.
it's just like, dude, come on. It's like the thing is that they see I don't know where like the line has been blurred where you have people that's supposed to uphold the law, but folks turn a blind eye when they go above the law.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like that's part of the issue. It's just like folks keeps and I love when people always use the where if you just comply, you like it wouldn't be no trouble or whatever. It's like, okay, how many people have complied and still were murdered?
And that. Thank you.
Yeah.
But
Because
Yeah.
remember, there is a thing out there called qualified immunity, which is made to protect law enforcement, and it's a law. So it's, one of the reasons why it's been so hard to kind of go after cops is because there's this law that exists that's meant to protect them unfortunately from stuff like this. So it's like, and I don't remember how old the law is or whatever. But it's we gotta put that down. You know what I'm saying? Like that thing's gotta go, because cops are meant to protect the communities, not be out here killing us unlawfully. And there's just so many examples. Like I can't even, the thought of me just going through again, I think, and I think Cassio talked about this before we actually went live, in 5 years. And that's just televised. We all know that there are things that have happened that didn't make the news, that
Yes.
didn't get big enough, so these are just the ones that we know about because it made it big enough. But there's a lot out there that haven't, and those voices are out there too. And it's just, I don't know. I just wanted to throw that in there really fast.
Yeah.
For that, it's hard for me to talk about because it's just, it's just a lot. And I have to admit, I'm one of those that where I haven't become, it's weird. I haven't become all the way desensitized, but I have only because it's so much.
Yeah.
You
It's
know what I
so
mean? And it
so
has,
heavy.
yeah, and it has definitely drained me mentally and emotionally. And I had a friend whose husband passed from COVID like a week or two ago.
Wow.
Oh
And
no.
I can't even, like, I cried for 2 days, when I found out. I found my sister-in-law, one of my brothers, my sister-in-law has currently COVID right now. My daughter graduated from high school this year, and I feel like I can't even give her the spotlight and celebrate her like I want to, because there's just so much.
It's so much. You're right.
Yeah, and it's like my emotions are on a seesaw or whatever. Like it's just up and down because there's just so much, and it's just like I can't even go about my life daily because there's just so much happening,
Yeah.
and it's hard for me to right now. It's hard for me to keep up, if that makes
It
sense.
makes perfect sense. And this is honestly the thing that, like, it's like that right there. Honestly, like that's what I really try to get and explain to my white friends. I really try to explain to them, like everything that you see on the news is something you can like click your channel through and say, oh, that's bad. Click and you go to Seinfeld or something. But no, when we see those things, we feel it. We feel it.
Yeah.
It's not just a news, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, no, we feel it. Like, man, that man was lynched. Like
Right.
we the generational trauma that comes from, descending from slaves, it's very real. It's epigenetics passed down. You know what I mean? Like it's a real thing. So it's almost as if when I see images like that, I feel like I'm back in the 1940s or 1950s. Like I am still in like a place where my life can be just taken in an instant.
Yep.
And it's really just because I am a man of color.
Yep.
Like at the end of the day.
And we, and with the recent one, it was Floyd, but let's not forget, and I am so sorry, because again, it's been so many, her life was taken. I mean, she had her door kicked in and she got
Breonna
shot.
Taylor.
Yes,
Yes,
Breonna
exactly.
Taylor, thank you. She
Go
got
on and get
shot
it
because the
out.
police were at the wrong place. You got Armand, who was jogging, and two men just decided to hunt him down.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And just killed him,
It's
and his
ridiculous.
whole case got thrown out because white people know each other in those kind of positions.
Exactly.
And that's the
And
only reason is because, for whatever reason, dude released the video to the public. The man who recorded it released it to the public. But
if he had not done that, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, if he hadn't have done it, I truly believe that Ahmad's case would have been not what's happening with it now. I don't believe that the father and the son and the man who recorded, I don't believe any of them would have been behind bars if dude wouldn't have released it to the public or
Absolutely
whatever.
correct. You are absolutely
Because we
correct.
already know the DA threw it out because the DA was friends with the father because he's an investigator for
Of
her.
course.
Boom.
Of course.
And
So
that's why,
like
and they showed
so
it to her
conflict.
Because
just
this
in
has happened
case.
before.
Right.
This
Yeah,
happened before.
they
I have a
showed her the
family member.
video just so that she could see that it was justified and not bring charges. It's just, you know what I mean? So
Conflict
I
and
guess,
interest don't mean shit.
yeah,
disgusting.
so I
It's
guess for
disgusting.
me, and obviously we all, and Jamal still has to weigh in, and Jensen obviously still has to weigh in, and I think we can all agree that it's just exhausting to be black. But for me, what I would like, I can't say that I'm for or against the riots. I completely get it. I guess for me, the thing was, I dislike when we burn our own communities down. I need us to burn other communities. Because the local communities that we go to be serviced, the barbershops, the restaurants, the clubs of friends that we know who have opened up, all those people now have to rebuild. But I completely and totally understand. So it's not that I'm not, I don't understand. It's just I think about the black business owners that are our friends and our relatives, some that may not have, insurance policies or whatever, that now have to rebuild from it. So that's all I'll say about that. But aside from that, I need us to do more once the fires go out.
Right.
People don't vote like they should. A lot of these people
That's
that's in
true.
these offices, these are publicly held offices that you have to vote for every 2 to 4 years. It's not just the president. It's not just the president that's important. These local elections are important. The people who are your police chiefs, your prosecutors, your judges, all those things are elected. You vote these people. I need more
Yep.
of us to do public service. I need more of us to get in some of these areas, because as we all know, a lot of times the change happens from within. It can be sparked from without, but a lot of the laws and stuff that change, they have to be changed from within. And if we don't have enough of us inside, a lot of these things may just keep going. We still gonna have these same old white people who be holding these offices since they were like 16 and they 75. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? They still in
yeah.
office. So
It's
it's
yeah,
just it's stuff like that. I just want us to, after the embers go out, I need for us to be more active, I guess, is
yeah,
is my thing. Because like you
Mhm.
all have said, we just can't keep waiting for them to kill us. We can't keep
Mhm.
waiting for them to kill us. We have to do something. And I don't have the answers or whatever. It's just my own view or whatnot. But I really am just, there are days where it's hard for me to breathe. It's hard for me to keep from crying. I'm lightweight. And I know I'm sure I'm not the only one when I'm getting ready to say this, but I interact with my coworkers a lot different right now. My
Right.
white
oh
coworkers.
yeah, oh yeah,
But
oh
'cause,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, I'm sure
oh
quite a
yeah.
few
I
people
have,
are
The
I'm
right
on
thing
a
is,
now.
team.
it's not.
Yeah,
God.
I'm on a team where it's mostly women. There's like two white dudes, but I'm on a team where it's mostly women. And one of the when Ahmad's video like got shown to the world, so not when he was killed, because we all know he got killed like 2-3 months ago. But when the video got released and stuff started getting investigated, my team was talking about tanning, and how one woman, one of my coworkers was like, I really want to get off of, I can't wait to get off of quarantine because I need a tan really bad. I want to go to my tanning salon. And somebody else was like, well, I would have known you was looking for a tanning bed because one of my neighbors just sold hers. And then another coworker was like, until you get there, yo, there's this, she didn't say yo, I'm saying yo, but she
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
there's this tanning lotion that I use that's really good and it helps keep me bronze until
I
I can
mean,
get to a salon. Like, this is the shit that they're talking about, and the whole
First world
time I'm
problems.
having a mental breakdown
yeah.
from,
They,
what I'm saying? So I can't even talk to him. We are not the same. We don't have the same concerns in this life. Y'all sitting up here talking about tanning, and a black man was literally just hunted and gunned down in the middle of the
yeah.
street
It's
by
it's
two
it's that
people who felt
privilege.
like they could chase him. You
It's
know
It's
what
that.
I'm
that
saying? So
privilege.
it's
They
just,
can.
but I
Yeah.
have to do my job. So
Yeah.
I just try not to engage as much because I don't really got nothing to say. I'm the only black person on my team.
Girl, you gotta
And it's just,
represent though.
yeah, it's
Let them
different.
people know. Hey, listen. You know what I'm saying? A young man just got killed,
Energy, like,
y'all. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I be letting people know, like, listen. You know what I'm saying? This is important right here. X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z. Because in all honesty, man, it sounds very weird to say out loud. It really does, but it's like they can turn their head to this type of stuff. They can just be
Yeah,
like, it doesn't affect their life
They can go back
because
home.
they know,
right,
right, right, and without fear,
Right.
without any kind
right.
of fear, they know good and well that a police officer is not going to touch them because of who they are. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like, I'm a man. I'm black. You know what I'm saying? And those two things there, that two combination right there, puts me at a higher risk of dying by accident by a police officer than otherwise. You know what I'm saying? That's concerning for me. You know what I'm saying? Like I said before, I barely leave the house. And you guys are saying protests going on downtown DC. I'm like, yeah, I see it on online and stuff, but I'm not out there. Like I'm not trying to get hit by any stray bullet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In any way, shape, form, or fashion. I don't see nothing pop off to where as though like bullets ain't got no name on it. I'm not gonna be out. I'm not gonna be out there. And I don't think it should be like that. I really don't. I really believe that I should be able to go where I want to go. I shouldn't be able. I shouldn't have to fear for my life because out here it's like you don't know. You don't know, like. You know what I'm saying? When you're going to get pulled over, it's like, hey, you fit some description. You know what I'm saying? Or, hey, we've been hearing about some robberies in this area. We don't know any of that stuff. We just mind our business.
And that's not even just police. A white person one day can just decide to challenge you. And if you happen to run up on if that white person just happens to be carrying or just is feeling a little bit more violent than you, they could take your life that day.
Yeah.
Your interactions with people are just different now, and I don't know. So that's kind of obviously my shoulders are heavy, my heart is weary. For anybody who protests, I mean, I went and when Trayvon Martin got killed, I was out there marching. When Sarah Blaine got killed and our city held a rally, I was down there protesting and marching. I didn't riot, didn't loot, but that's just me. For young people out there, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you how to be angry. That is not my job. Everybody handles this frustration however you want to do it. Just be safe, and just I guess just be safe. But however you choose to exercise your frustration, that's on you. Just speaking for myself, I wasn't going to do any looting and rioting, but I absolutely understand other people who feel that need, and I just, for any of you, for anybody who listens to this podcast, just be safe out here. You know what I'm saying? Just be safe. I just want us all to be safe because it's just crazy. And Trevor Noah, if any of you watched The Daily Show, Trevor Noah did a really good video recently about in response to people who are more mad at the rioting versus the why.
The murder.
And I really encourage for anybody who's like really pissed at the rioting to watch his video because he always explains things beautifully. We have to figure out, because we Colin Kaepernick did his thing and it was too much. So now we've moved on to this, and it's still too much to people out there. Some people out there, but the point is the killings. You are literally watching us getting hunted. You're literally watching policemen putting their knees on our necks for 9 minutes. Basically, he died underneath a knee. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're watching it. What do we do about this?
Yeah.
What do we do about it?
And I'm totally I'm embarrassed by the whole situation, because I'm probably the only one on this panel that leans conservative and both Republican candidates.
Yep.
But when I go out there and I look at the news and I see that our leadership, we don't have any leadership out
here.
Nope.
Nope.
Not at all. Nope. And you have Trump out here saying, the rioters, they're thugs and they violent and they're savages and shit like that. And the news people saying that we all savages and animals and stuff like that. But nobody wants to address the underlying issue.
Right.
We are out here getting murdered. We out here getting murdered. We out here getting murdered. I was considering voting for Trump. And you gotta know how embarrassing that is for a black man to say I was considering voting for Trump,
especially on social media, because I almost unfriended you. I was like,
how are you ahead of
got to have? He must be hacked.
No, but listen though, but somebody come out here. Every president have their moment. When 9/11 happened, Bush was out there in New York with his bullhorn saying, "Hey, we come together. We can handle this. We go take care of this shit. Everybody go come together." Obama come out saying, "Yes, we can." And Trump could have came out here and said something, but this motherfucker went and hid in his basement and said, "Not only am I not doing shit, I'm out there. I'm going to send the military out after y'all to pacify you."
Exactly. He said that shit. He said that shit in his
speech.
In his speeches, he was like, back in my day, you know what I'm saying? Come on, dude.
Like, dog. So at this point, it's embarrassing. And then it's not even just them. It's on the other side. You got this tepid ass leadership. They say, "Oh, well, I'm going to talk to the black community." Motherfucker, you know what the fuck is going on. There ain't nothing to talk about.
Right.
Right.
Hey, it's all good, brother. It's all good, brother. You slid to the other side for 2 seconds and you came right back, baby. Don't worry. Welcome home, my jigger. Glad to have you back. Glad to have you back.
For the conspiracy theorists out there, I feel like maybe this started to bring Jamal back to the other side. Maybe that's
You got Joe Biden at the fucking church talking about I'm gonna listen to the people. Motherfuckers, they you already know. You've been in Washington for 40 fucking years. You've been saying this shit. It's not new.
Yeah, the thing is, I totally agree. I totally agree, Jamal. It's like, oh, I'm not sure. But yeah, I totally agree with you talking about, Jamal. Like it's
horrible. And then they would rather sit up here and attack us and spray us with bullets and shit, with rubber bullets, call us thugs, and arrest the motherfucking officers that are out there. That the other 3 officers that was there.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of this, you could have just arrested the officer.
Just arrest him and keep moving.
And keep it moving.
Yep, they would rather sit back and discredit other people. They would much rather arrest protesters to a murder instead of arresting the murder and the accomplices to the murder.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like
it's embarrassing, dude. It's the whole thing.
Hey, bro. Hey. We ain't even. You know what I'm saying? We ain't even holding against you, man. Keep moving forward, my brother. You know what I'm saying? The way I see it is honestly like this, man. 2020, you know what I'm saying, is a year of vision. You know, there's a reason why 2020 means perfect vision. You know, this year is a year that we will all see like the truth. Straight up. That's how I feel. It's like a prediction.
I just want to say that was borderline Hotep talk. I appreciated that though.
And also, Casio might actually be a philosopher on
that was
A+ wordplay, man. Come on.
I want to say this too. If you black and you in America, you got kids, you got a family, get strapped up. These motherfuckers will come and pull you out your car and murder your ass. You better have a weapon and know how to use that bitch and fire back.
Hey, no, agree.
I feel like it's up. You only got one shot because if they can go and they can filter the media however they want to. They can go back and pull your social media and pull anything and say they was justified in killing you. So you need to go ahead and make sure that you protected for yourself, your family, and then you have some defense and you can do what you want. The Second Amendment protects all of us.
That's right. That's right. But you know how many people don't actually know like what the Second Amendment actually even means? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it basically means that we have the right as citizens to strap up and bear arms in the event that we come in contact with a corrupt government.
That we all have the right to have a well-funded militia. We don't have to be separated all the time. We can come together and be strapped up together. We don't have to be by myself, you by yourself, and you just got to wonder about whoever the fuck is out here. That's not right.
I will say after the one picture surfaced when all the white people was protesting about the curfew, the quarantine,
and stuff.
When the one picture surfaced with the dude with the rocket launcher on his back ordering a burger or wherever it is he was, I was like, shit, what am I doing out here? Because apparently you can have a rocket launcher and you're fine.
Yeah,
no. That shit is nuts, man.
Obviously, that state probably whatever those state laws were or whatnot. But I have to admit, I was a little blown away, and I was like, and I'm kind of against violence in all ways, but that's just me. Obviously, I will protect myself and my child. You know what I'm saying? I'm not big on guns, but I think that's more so because of how I was raised. You know what I'm saying? My parents weren't big on violence. They weren't big on guns and stuff like that. But I'm not going to lie, especially with my daughter going to college this fall. I told her, I said, if you don't have to own a gun if you're not comfortable with it, but you're going to have something on you, a high voltage taser, something. You're going to have something.
Have it and not need it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat with you. Like I've never necessarily been one to subscribe to violence growing up or whatever, but like I've definitely adopted that. Like, look, especially with me being a new father now, and it's like I will protect me and mine however I need to at this point. And the thing is that like I've had like a lot of life-changing revelations the last couple of years, and how I choose to live my life, how I want to live my life, how I want to stand on my own 2 feet. And it's like I am just at a point where it's like, look, and then when it comes, it's like I have to do what needs to be done to make sure that I stay safe, because it's like again, I think as far as like what like the thing is all of the murders like that's taken place like over the past decade alone, you know, have affected me in one way or another. But the one that still gets me, the one that I always go back to, not like including this one, is when Philando Castile was killed. And that right there was a classic example of a man abiding by the rules, complying.
Mm-hmm.
The next thing you know, he has 7 bullets in his chest. 7 with his significant other and child in the back,
sitting right there, dude.
And I see that, and it's like that could have been any of us. That could have been me. That could have been any of you. It could have been any one of my best friends or brothers or whatever. It could have been anybody.
Right.
But that's the reason why people are rioting. The thing is that it's not just this one death that folks are rioting for. It's all of them,
It's
dude.
just a combination of all of it. You know,
It's everything. And that's why I don't judge nobody on rioting. I don't judge them on looting. I don't judge them on nothing. It's like we have been sitting here getting killed, dude, in cold blood, like it ain't nothing. And
like it ain't nothing. Like and they go home. And they go home.
They go home and they try their best to avoid any repercussions whatsoever.
Jensen, we've kind of all been talking, and I know you've been listening. You're the only one who hasn't chimed in yet. Did you want to chime in?
I don't think he's there.
Jensen, are you not there?
He might have.
He dropped out like a while back.
Did he?
Did he?
All right. I didn't know that. I still see his icon up here.
His icon is there, but he dropped out in the middle of a comment like about a half hour ago.
Oh.
He's dead.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh. Still love you, Jensen.
Yeah. We gonna miss him. We gonna miss the homie.
I don't know if you can hear all of us. Obviously, this is gonna be on the thing. I just want you to know your icon is still on.
Yeah.
So whatever it is you're doing with your phone,
like
I just want you to know that your icon is
on with the freeze on and everything.
Oh, Jensen just commented and said he's here. Is your mic off? Can you not talk? You're not muted.
Just
Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
So here we go, Black people. I need us to use our technology.
That's all right. That's all right. Honestly, like overall, this is a trying time, and I do want to say this though, Tiffany, because the way you feel is probably the way a lot of Black people and Black women feel right now. Is that they're overwhelmed, and it's heavy, and we just we don't know what to do. Like I feel like this is the way that our ancestors felt, like during Jim Crow laws, even before, what I'm saying, slaves were emancipated, even before that, slavery was abolished by the 13th Amendment. Before that, what I'm saying, they were dealing with stuff like this all the time, and they were dealing it at a worse level. Mm-hmm. I really feel like we have to carry the baton. You know what I mean? We have to take it home, and to do that, we have to be strong. You know what I mean? It's like we have to be strong. We can't buckle under these circumstances, because now is the time that we got to be the strongest. When it's rough, when it's at its peak, now's the time we got to be the strongest. You know what I'm saying? So by all means, you
got to be unapologetic. Unapologetic about the BS.
And it's that's why I don't have a problem with the violence, because it's in retaliation to something else. It's not just I'm gonna just do this because I'm angry. No, it's the retaliation to everything. We don't know when the next person is gonna die. We don't know who the next person is gonna be. I could be the next person to go, and I'm not willing to, I'm not willing to on the strength of me not being violent. I'm not willing to allow for someone to think it's okay, or I'm just gonna turn another cheek, or I'm gonna do it peacefully. You know what I mean? No, you guys have already sunk that ship, and now it's time for some anarchy. So it's you guys do what you have to do. I'm not gonna judge anybody one way or the other, but something has definitely got to change for sure.
Yep, and that's where a lot of us are, or whatever. Folks ain't gonna understand it, they're not gonna agree, and that's fine. But one of the things that always kills me when it comes to protesting, and You know, this is not even including like the supposed agitators that are popping up and kind of sort of hijacking some of the protesters or whatever.
You mean
Is
Logan
that,
Paul?
you know,
What?
but the
Logan
thing
Paul, what
is,
did he do? Oh,
He was out
sorry.
there looting.
yeah, he was out there looting too. Dude, I'm like, bruh,
Whoa.
get your privilege ass out of here. You don't even need
Why?
any of that shit. But
That
anyway,
guy's proven himself
it's like,
a person more than. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead, bro. I'm
but
sorry.
but the thing is that like what always kills me is that folks like keep wanting to pretend that rioting doesn't go hand in hand with protesting, and it's like it's not necessarily the best choice or outcome or whatever, but we can't like act like that isn't like on the same two sides of the same coin between protesting and rioting, because again, what people fail to realize is that like a lot of people out here, aside from being tired, exhausted, and anxious, we're also broke. People like folks are out there, like especially during the pandemic. There's a lot of people still ain't got their stimulus checks.
Yep.
There are people that haven't been able to work.
Yep.
Some of them folks or whatever, and like there's quite a few people that have even applied for benefits, and their unemployment benefits are getting held up, and
Yep.
they're waiting. And the thing is, like folks are don't like a hard. It's hard for folks to like even be out to be able to get the bare essentials. So what are they gonna do? They're gonna do the best they possibly can to provide for their family. I already seen a picture today with somebody walking. Suppose somebody was looting or whatever. They looted Pampers,
Yep.
fucking
In a car
Pampers
seat.
in a
Yep.
car seat.
Yep.
What do you think happens when something like that? That means that they are having hard times trying to make ends meet.
Right.
That's for a lot of people out there. Like for the folks don't understand that like a lot of these broken communities, man, like people either are having a hard time have been having a hard time finding work. The pandemic is preventing them to have work. And the thing is, even before that, people have already been overworked and not getting paid for it. Fucking Kroger's asking for their hazard pay back from employees.
You know what?
Like folks don't get it. Like folks don't understand like the frustration folks are having with the status quo. So guess what? How do you attack the status quo? You go after the businesses.
Mhm.
That's what happens. The thing is, folks need to stop like going after like the businesses in their own communities, because like these are people that are living in our neighborhoods. They don't deserve that. It's sad that they are going through that. It really is. So that I'm just hoping it's like what Tiffany was saying. When the embers clear, hopefully we'll be there to help those people out of the hard times that they are facing because of this.
Yeah.
So, but it's like at the same time, it's like folks do not understand that it's like at the end of the day, people have little to work with and they have to get it any means necessary. That's like part of the reason why even thinking back of like when we had other disasters. What do you expect people to do during a natural disaster? Like, and I'm talking about like back when Hurricane Katrina or whatever. What do you expect people to do that like a lot of people that lost everything?
And I mean, even outside of that, I mean, we could talk about the famous riots that happened like in Watts. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Same conditions. Endless police brutality.
Yep. Under
Conversations
police
weren't happening. Politicians weren't listening. Unemployment was on the rise. Obviously drugs obviously got flowed into the community. So there was that too. I mean, it's just anger.
Y'all hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Terry.
Also, real quick, can we talk about the fact that cops are walking down the street like literal jackbooted thugs?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. Like apparently there's already been reports of most of them like covering their badge numbers to turn off their body cams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For what reason? For what reason other than to start chaos?
It's a very, very corrupt organization. Like it's very corrupt. I'm just not even going to sugarcoat it. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, it's kind of like once you paint a picture to a certain demographic, you know what I mean? It makes the other demographic able to deny the real thing that's going on. It's like, oh no, you guys are getting arrested because you're committing crimes. Oh, this is happening.
Hello? Oh, we just lost another one. Dang. Is it? Something
Come back,
man.
come back.
All right.
well,
This
you
is getting
know,
mixed up anyway, and I'm already exhausted because I had to run around Cleveland all day today.
yeah, we're gonna end it here soon. So I guess, well, since we lost two people abruptly, you oh wait, somebody's just trying to click back in. Oh, here he comes. He
But let
clicking
me
back
say
in.
this real quick. I just want to say that,
Okay,
another
where's
thing, we got these protests going on all over the country, right? And we have COVID still out there.
Yep.
My fear is that like a week or two, this is gonna get real bad for a lot of people,
Yep.
and we need to take care of ourselves, even more, because this type of stuff breeds like that second wave that was supposed to be out here, because we have
Yep.
people in close
Yeah.
proximity to each other. So just
Yep.
stay safe. If I know they lift the lockdown in a lot of these countries and a lot of these states, but if you can stay home, just stay home. Not because you out of fear, but because it's real shit out there.
Right.
Yeah.
Because people are still dying of COVID. COVID is
It
still
ain't
out
going nowhere.
here,
It ain't going nowhere.
and obviously, and like you said, it's getting worse because it will probably get worse. So I agree with you. So I
Yeah.
mean, we talked about a lot on this podcast. I want to thank all of you, including Jensen, who we lost, seem to have lost or
Oh,
whatever.
The
I feel like
fallen
if he would
angel.
have did it from his computer, though, he wouldn't be having these problems. So that's just
it's so hard.
but just really fast, let's get some. I mean, we talked about everything from comics to literature to obviously our current events, Attack on Titan. We somehow snuck. We still talk about RoboCop and Mortal Kombat,
RoboCop, baby.
and everything. So
Dead
just
or alive,
let's
you
go
coming with
around and
me.
everybody give their final thoughts here. So Jamal, let's start with you on your final thoughts about anything that you want to say.
Man, just stay safe out there, man. Like I just said, the COVID is still out there. People still getting infected. The rates are skyrocketing. States are opening up. So if you are gonna be out there protesting, just know that you're dealing with what's in front of you, but you got something in the back end that can come back and haunt you. And I'm not talking about an STD.
Wow.
Right.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Did you have to go into STD? Did you got to go
Don't
in?
bring it home.
What?
Toku, Terry, your final thoughts?
Well, I'm sorry, my voice is a little bit lower, which means I'm being a little bit more serious instead of my usual upbeat self. But I'm being for real here, seeing as they're heavily arming and mobilizing the army and the National Guard. Stay safe out there, and as always, stay more phenomenal, friends.
Mm-hmm. Fallen Marvel.
Just to piggyback on what everybody else has been saying, man. Like, just in these rough times, just stay safe, and just things. Just with everything, just regardless of what everything has been said, things are gonna get worse before they get better. But the best thing for you to do is prepare for the worst, because this is only the beginning.
Cassio.
Um, I guess one thing I always say in the Marquez Lots videos is don't believe the hype, and I think that it's especially important right now to really like do your homework, do your research, and don't take everything that you hear like at face value. You know what I'm saying? I mean, don't take everything you hear to heart, because a lot of times it's like we've been seeing people dressing up as protesters, pretending to be part of the movement when in fact they're there just to like beef up the agitation and beef up like they crashing windows and stuff, whatever. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
saying, like, please, by all means, like, really find the truth. Find the truth. Don't just listen to one story and then run off of it. Find what's true and like go off of that. And secondly, I want to say that to anybody who is not black or African American or whatever, we during this time right now, we need your help. Like, I'm just gonna say it. We need your help. If you are
Yes, we
white,
do.
if you are LGBT community, if you from the Spanish community, if you mean like any minority, every minority, any and everyone, like we need your help. We need your help. Speak up for us. Protest with us. Please don't tell us how to behave. Don't tell us that. Don't tell us anything. Just fight with us because we're out here hurting. We're hurting. We're dying. We're we're at our wits end right now. We don't know what else to do. We need to mobilize together, all minority groups, and we really need to fight this racism. Because the truth of the matter is that all of us, every minority, has in one way, shape, form, or fashion, been discriminated against.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, I'm saying I'm putting out like a call to action for every minority group to come together and help us fight this racist regime. That's really like what Cassio wants to say, and I want to end it with a sandwich and tell you all: don't believe the hype.
Hey, and obviously this is Tiffany. So my final word is again, just going off of everybody, just be safe. Adding on to what Cassio just said, and there was also recently, and I am so sorry because I forget the young person's name, but there was also recently a transgender man that was killed, if I'm not mistaken, either in, I think it was either Tennessee or Florida. I can't remember. Obviously, that didn't get as much attention as some of these other killings are, but definitely, that is happening as well, and it's the same thing: unlawful killing by a police officer who was just doing too much and killed somebody unnecessarily. So I'm with everybody else, be safe. Definitely echo Jamal's sentiments on, COVID is still out there. To anybody who's listening that is on the front lines of all of these crises that's going on, whether you're a police officer, a nurse, a doctor, whatever, we appreciate you all being out there and, just being
Yes.
safe. And then um for my part, I will say there is nothing wrong with being weary. If you've become kind of like me and these conversations and these images and these videos, if they're just so draining because there's just so much to absorb, there is nothing wrong with taking a break. And don't let anybody make you feel bad that you're taking a break, whatever that break may be. Whether it's you don't want to talk about it, if you shut off social media for a while, if you're trying to be one of those people who's trying to spread happiness in other ways, try to crack jokes on other things, if that's how you need to cope because it's just so much, do that. Because as we all know,
Mm-hmm.
this shit is overwhelming and it affects us every minute of every day. And sometimes you got to do what you need to do to be yourself. You know what I mean? So if you need to take a break, there is nothing wrong with being that person. And, again, I just hope that once the dust settles, we really have to talk about, because I'm sure Jamal will want to talk about this next time. Hey, elections are coming.
Yep.
If
Like
you hate
us.
Trump, I
Yep.
know you might not like Biden. Okay, we all know
Yeah,
Biden,
we got
the
to.
DNC screwed up another thing. Okay, Biden honestly should not be the candidate, but that's a conversation for another podcast.
Agreed.
Hey, November is coming. Okay, and the question is whether, regardless of what Biden voted for in the past or whatnot, it's Trump and Biden. That's it.
That's it.
Regardless
We
of other
can't
little
let Trump
small
back in there.
candidates that are out there, not to say there might not be an independent or whatever, but we all know majority is going to be Biden or Trump. The little candidates you can write in, whoever no name might pop up, okay, that's there to kind of be a deterrent. It's not going to get enough votes to take down Trump. So
Yep.
you got to decide. It's Trump or
Yeah.
Biden. That's just pretty much what it is. And we can definitely talk about that on
Hey,
our next
Tiffany,
podcast as November approaches. But I mean, everybody is, we know it's not a black candidate out there. Obviously, Obama's not running, sadly, but your vote is still just as important as it was when he was on the paper, when he was on the
hey,
ballot.
and I want to say this before we cut out. Your president is a candidate and is an elected official that works at the margins.
Yep.
So when he first got in there, or as he was running, he wrote off 50% of the country. He already
Yep.
knew he wasn't getting there. He already knew that you wasn't voting for him. He
Yep.
wrote off 90% of black people. He wrote off 47% of the country, and he works at the margins. So what he's hoping for is that he can pick off like 5 or 10% of us, 5% of LGBT, any other community, and he wins by getting in by 51%.
Yep.
That's what you going up against. He's not looking to get a landslide victory over Biden or whoever the hell he run up against. He hoping that you are so demoralized by the events that's going on out there that you just say, forget it.
Yep. And you don't go.
I'm
Because
not.
we all know He didn't win because he beat Hillary. He won because people stayed home. You know,
That's right.
Hillary had the majority, but we all know the Electoral College
Right.
is what wins
Yeah.
president.
I will not lie. I will not lie. The thing is, during that time, during that election year, my morale was low for voting. I went, but it was very low.
Mhm.
Like I almost didn't go.
I mean, it's and I get it. You know, I do get it. You know what I'm saying? I get it.
Yeah.
We are wrapping up, so I feel like I'm about to monologue, and I gotta cut myself
Yeah,
off.
we can't do it.
I
We can't
mean,
do
like I
it. We
said,
can't
we
do
could
it.
talk
You know?
about it on our next podcast because
Yeah.
the man himself, obviously Jamal, we're with everything that's going on, and obviously this being another big determination year, we're gonna try to start including a little bit of political stuff because I think it is important to talk
It
about.
is.
November is coming, like it's coming, and if you stay home, you kind of like Jamal just said, he's operating off of margins. Trump knows he ain't gonna win like 80% of the black vote. He know that. You know what I'm saying? He knows, and he knows a lot of stuff. He's a businessman. He's an idiot, but he's also smart in a lot of ways. He won because he played on the racism and the fear that is ingrained in this country's foundation. And he won because the racists came out to vote for him. They beat us. You know
Absolutely.
what I'm saying? We didn't show up. They were more than us.
Yep.
And like I said, whoever the little no name third or fourth candidate or whoever you want to write, it don't matter. Even if you write a candidate's name in, if it ain't Trump or Biden, it's not going to matter. You have to make a decision. And
Okay.
I feel like
Hopefully in the future
I don't want the
change.
devil which is Trump. I don't want the devil this time. I will take Biden and we'll figure this shit out when he get in there because I just feel like he can't be as evil. Like he just can't be, you know what I'm saying? Like I just feel like Trump will be the
I
worst.
understand and I love to continue, but I actually go.
Yeah, we're
I do
going
too.
to end
I
on
do
this.
also.
So we want to thank everybody, obviously, for listening to us. And we will catch you guys next time.
Yeah.
Fantastic.